Yeah.
Uh,
Cool.
all right, hey guys. So we're back. So to regular programming, sort of, and today I know it's been like a few days or whatever, but I have some special guests joining me today. From Hot Takes Tuesday. It's a nerd man. I believe it's only the second time it's been on this channel. It's been a while. And
Mm-hmm.
then below me for the first time is Anzo from Bigger for Entertainment. I haven't talked to either of them in a very long time, but we have a lot to discuss today, including if you notice the title is Pop Culture Talk, so we're talking anything film or TV related. But yeah, so Nerdman, today you want to talk about, I guess, a variety of topics and stuff, but let's just talk about sort of, I guess, like what's going on recently. So they recently just Disney just dropped the first official teaser for the Little Mermaid movie, which has been the subject of controversy ever since it was announced that the main actress will be black. Um, and I've already seen the trailer a couple times. I've read a lot of the comments, all that stuff. I haven't never talked to you about that. What are your guys' take on this film, and are you looking forward to it?
What a great way to start. What a great way to start because this is one of the things I actually wanted to bring up. Now, I saw the trailer. I don't know about you, Onzo,
No, I didn't
but
see it yet.
we can watch it. But like, or you can maybe actually know because you'll get
I'm
like
gonna,
a copyright
yeah,
strike.
I'm
But you
gonna
can
watch
watch
it
it.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wasn't so impressed. I don't think it looks good, but I don't think half the Disney live action things have looked that good. Like to be fair, I do think I don't mind them. I kind of want to see some of this brought to live action, but of course, when you go online, what's the typical narrative? The typical narrative is this caveman fucking troll who seems not to be able to deal with change or anything like that, and it's immediately about the black actress. Now, I'm gonna go into that a little bit further to distinguish what I'm talking about because I think there's two different ways. There can be people who, aren't okay with race swapping, right? And they're just like, oh, it kind of takes me out of the movie, or they don't think they think for some reason that character is better off being Caucasian if they were originally Caucasian for whatever reason, which for me is fine. You say that, you can have a conversation about it. Like for instance, my best friend actually is guy, British guy, white guy in the military, or was in the military and stuff. And we were having a discussion just yesterday about like the rings of power. And
Mhm.
again, this normal guy, family guy, good looking guy, whatever, he doesn't like the fact that there are black elves for whatever reason in Lord of the Rings. But what he does is he discusses it and then moves on. He doesn't like, go immediately that the show is completely terrible because of that, right?
Yeah.
So I want to distinguish between those type of people and the type of people I'm talking about. But what did you think of it? Just of curiosity before I go on.
The tr-
Um. Oh yeah. No, I'm sorry. Anzo, go.
the trailer you're talking about, I just watched it.
Hmm.
It's a teaser trailer, so they don't really show much. But I said this before. I think they got the best person for the job because when I heard her sing, I was like, yes, I completely agree with that. I don't care. You guys know this. I've never cared about the race bending stuff. So that's not the reason why I'm going to this movie. I think if you get the best person for the job, then I don't care what color they are. And she can sing.
Right,
She can
right,
sing.
right. And it's AMBW. What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, I'll be interested. I'll watch it. I remember, the original the original cartoon one is sort of like a classic. It came out when I was a little kid, but I mean, it's just in general. Listen, like in general, I will give it a chance, but in general, I'm tired of these fucking live action remakes because they're so lazy. It's just
Yeah,
honestly,
no,
like, you know what? Like The Lion King was like one of the worst movies I've seen. Like the one in
absolutely.
2019. That was trash. That was hot trash.
I didn't really like Aladdin too much either. I didn't think Will Smith was the worst thing, but I don't think it was great casting either. And it just wasn't. It wasn't in any way like it added nothing new. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
nothing new to the animated thing. And don't get me wrong, I'm interested, completely intrigued by bringing these things to live action, seeing what you saw as a cartoon in real life. If they have something interesting to do with it, like the Jungle Book. The Jungle Book was actually very good, right?
yeah,
The one
Jungle Book was the best one.
yeah, it was very, very good. But I would be fine to say, look, I think the CGI looks poor. I think in comparison to Aquaman, like for instance, the underwater world looks underwhelming in this trailer. I think the only good thing it's got going for it is actually the girl singing, right? Like when I heard her sing, I was like, okay, that's actually pretty good. But that's like pretty much the only thing that this show had going for it.
Have you
Oh, sorry,
followed her
this.
on like Twitter, Nerd Man? Because she does some stuff on Twitter where she's singing and shit like that, and you really get to hear her voice, man. And I was like, yo, I am down for that because my for me, like I like hip hop and rap and all that, but it's the singing that I've always gravitated to, you know. So when I hear her
Mhm.
voice, I think she fits. I think it's perfect. I'm gonna be seeing that for sure.
Yeah, no, she's the best thing about that trailer. Like, honestly, the rest of it, I thought the CGI was poor. I think it looks very lazy, like the rest of them, and I think it looks like a cash grab. And I'd be able to say that without any kind of hesitation at all if it wasn't for the kind of fucking trolls that I see online. And yes, they are usually white straight males. Unfortunately, they're the vast majority of them. And when I look at them, they look like people who, probably find it hard to talk to other people. Like the internet was the best thing that ever happened to them because these people can't socialize in real life. I
yeah,
know that for a fact because they're mental. They're crazy. They're like the guy from fucking Rain Man. So there's one strand of them who's just plain racist, right? And then
yeah,
there's the other strand of them who like anything, any small modicum of change to some universe that they think they're entitled to, right? Like because they bought a book or they bought I doubt any of these guys read Lord of the Rings, for instance. That's just me. I just listen to them. I listen to their vocabulary. I listen to the way they think, and I doubt these guys are big readers. But whatever. But because they were into the Lord of the Rings films or something along those lines, they think they have some kind of ownership of of these IPs, and therefore they can dictate who's casting them, who what it's about. And if it isn't the story that's in their fucking head, then it's trash. And they're gonna review bomb it and make sure, and try, I can't tell me this, Onzo. There's films you don't like, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and AMBW, there's films you don't like,
yep,
right?
yep.
Have you ever watched a film and been happy at its failure? Like actually genuinely been happy at its failure so that like the creators you almost as if you're basking in the creators' failure, like basking in their misery or something like that. Have you ever like I don't know what
Never.
kind of mentality you have to not only do it like once the films come out, but actually be doing it before the films come out. Like I be happy that everyone in this particular enterprise has actually like somehow failed and be taking joy in that.
You see, for
I
me,
don't
Nerd Man,
understand that.
I don't either, because if I'm watching something, it's not because I want it to fail. It's because I'm genuinely interested in watching it and I'm hoping it's good, right? And then if it's not good, okay, well, I'm sorry, it wasn't good, but I'm not going to be like, oh my God, they did this to who, and I hope that movie fails. I'm not going to do that. It's childish. That's 100%
AMBW.
childish.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, yeah. I never go into a movie wanting it to fail because I'd be like, why am I paying to watch it then? Like I remember like
Exactly.
the worst movie that I've seen in recent memory is theatrical cut of the Justice League, and as much hatred as everyone has towards that movie, or like even before watching it, I wanted it to be so good, but I was
Mm.
genuinely angry at how bad it turned out to be. Like I was
Yeah,
pissed off when I saw the
but
movie.
but even still, I'm not like so pissed at fucking what's his name? This idiot like who directed it. I've never really liked him as a director or whatever, but
Josh
like
Whedon.
Joshua Whedon, right?
Mhm.
I wasn't like really super upset with him. Like I was like, dude, in the end of the day, like you're just trying to feed your family, right? Somebody gives you 10 million, 20 million, more actually, to redirect somebody's movie. What? Who's going to say no to that? Like
Nobody.
who? Like nobody. None of these cunts would that like talk about it. You know
And
what I'm saying?
they're gonna do exactly what the studio wants them to do with the movie. You know what I mean? You're paying me this to do this, and you want me to do this? Sure, no problem. I'll do it.
Exactly. It's like you're talking about millions of dollars here. Somebody wants to pay you to do that. Why am I going to get angry at the guy for fucking doing his job? Like what they asked
Mhm.
him to do. Make it more humorous, make it more comedic. If anything, I should be pissed at the people who, you know,
Made him do it.
made him do it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the one element of it. And then, yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into like the Snyder stuff like really much, but I wanted to give that as an example because I think that's a good one. Like if there's any film that I should be angry at, it's that one, and I ain't mad at the
Hmm.
fucking creator. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I'm not mad at the guy who is just trying to do his job. And there's this narrative that goes around, I always hear it, like they're trying, as if they're trying to make something bad, like a lot of the time, like they're
Hmm.
trying to do a poor, like most of the time. I'll admit there are times where people just do things for, you can see like they just did it for a paycheck, but you
Yeah,
cannot
absolutely.
you cannot sit there and tell me whether you like or dislike, say for instance, the Rings of Power, right? That those people who directed that, and you can see the shots, you can see how epic they're trying to make it, are actually trying to just coast or something like that. That they don't have a passion for this material. They clearly have a passion, even if you dislike what they're doing with it. Clearly, they have a passion for it, and don't try and take that away from them and be like, oh, they're just doing it for a paycheck or something. There's a lot going. There's a lot in my head right now. Sorry, because I'm bouncing around from thing to thing. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna ask AMBW to help me out here, and we'll ask some questions back and forth. But I'm gonna show a Twitter thing that like the argument that I got into, and then we can maybe go from there and react to that, and then react to one of the reviews for exactly what you were talking about, AMBW, which is the recent Disney, the recent Little Mermaid trailer.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
Do you want to? Should we do that now? Because maybe that will
Yeah,
help
sure.
clarify what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let me try. Try to
I,
share
I
this.
can share. I can share it. I've got it.
Oh, okay.
I've got you.
You're already prepared, eh, nerd man? You came to battle tonight.
Waiting for this screen to go big. Okay. All right. So here we go. Here's one of the, and I don't want to promote this guy's channel, but I'm just going to use him as an example of what I'm talking about here, and the kind of level of, this kind of level of mentality, that with a certain crowd of fans that I just think it's getting out of hand. Everything. There's not a thing that these guys. I'm going to go through a list of things that have come out recently have been connected with IPs that they have something against all of them.
Yeah.
Just dropped the first trailer for the woke Little Mermaid film, the film that has already received a massive amount of backlash online, particularly because of the red flags that we have seen with.
Immediately you can see the glee he takes in the fact that it's had this backlash, by the way. I just wanted to note that, first of all. Complete glee and happiness.
When you watch these movies, when you watch these videos, they're always happy. They always seem like they're happy for it. For sure.
Okay, so let's continue. And then AMBW, I'd like your thoughts on this.
Choosing to go woke over telling a good story. This is a problem that Disney has really suffered from a lot over the past few years, as we continue to see remake after remake, movie after movie that Disney puts out get completely ratioed on YouTube. So as you can see, that is exactly what is happening here with The Little Mermaid. It currently sits.
So can I just ask you guys, what precise movies has Disney put out that is super, like Captain Marvel, I'll give you, like woke or whatever, but what is he talking about? Like right now, is he talking about The Lion King? Is he talking about Aladdin? What woke stuff has Disney put? They put out garbage. Right. They put out films that aren't great. What is woke? And what specifically is he talking about the red flags for this movie? What red flags? That it's woke.
That she's black. That's what it is. That Ariel's black. That's what the red flag is.
I would say. Oh, I'm sorry. I would say out of wokeness. I mean, the closest I could think of was probably The Last Jedi. Like, I'm sorry, I'm one of the many people who did not like that movie, and then The Rise of Skywalker. Like, dude, I mean, Mary Sue, man. Like, if anything, in Mary Sue, like Captain Marvel's a Mary Sue, Rey is a Mary Sue. Like, that stuff you can call that woke. But this, I mean, yeah, it's just because she's black. They're calling it woke.
Right. Okay. So let me go with that. You've given some kind of content to why you believe, like, for instance, this movies, the Star Wars movies work. So you're saying like it had an extremely strong female and was preaching female empowerment. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, what I'm saying, I mean, I'm pretty sure, that in my opinion, Rey, she was a poorly developed character. And
but that's nothing to do with being woke.
Well, I mean, okay, woke is in like a negative, lazy context. Like what this guy is saying, like I would say The Last Jedi is probably the closest thing to it. You know?
The reason why she's considered woke is because she was pretty much basically better than anybody else with no training.
Yes, exactly.
But okay, first of all, I have a problem with that because I don't even know that is true. But fair enough, because I saw her pretty much manhandled by Snoke, right? So she wasn't better than everyone. Like she couldn't do shit against Snoke.
She beat Kylo Ren with no training.
Okay, she beat Kylo Ren without training, but Snoke completely fucking manhandled her. So did fucking Palpatine. Like she was lucky.
Yeah. Okay. So because of the Rise of Skywalker, because of the backlash that everybody had with her not getting any training, they show her doing training in that movie. But before that movie, she had no training whatsoever. Yeah, Snoke did what he did, but Snoke was like a Darth Vader type. He was more powerful than them. But when it came to...
But that's what I'm saying. The argument that you're making that she was so powerful, that she was more powerful than anyone, is already undermined by the actual film.
Snoke is the only one, though. Even after when she gets out from Snoke... Hold on. No, but that was after. She had training after that, so I don't count that. I'm talking about from the first two movies. That's where all the Mary Sue stuff started, right? So in the first one, she beats Kylo Ren. In the second one, she gets pretty much by Snoke. But after that, she handles Snoke's guards like they're nothing, right?
Okay,
So
fair enough. Again, I'm not here to like kind of. It's fine. She's a Mary
Mhm.
Sue. How is that
Mhm.
woke? Because I didn't see her
Well,
going, all females are like great and like more powerful than everyone else, and like, you know, men are shit or anything like that. I saw that in Captain Marvel. I saw that in that movie, and I could understand it. And I even echoed some of the criticisms. But now I regret echoing any of those criticisms because I see that it added to a narrative that has led to this. Everything's fucking woke now.
well,
Everyone's a Mary Sue. Any powerful woman, no matter how, what backstory they give her, it doesn't matter. She's fucking, she's a Mary Sue. Look at the chick from Prey, this Native American chick who was getting, you know, she was like in the ringer like most of the movie, right? She was a Mary Sue. How did
well, you
she
see,
be
I don't
in?
use the word woke anymore because they're using it wrong. That's the meaning of woke has nothing to do with this bullshit that they're talking about, right? So I don't use that word anymore because it's bullshit. It's just a way of taking away again from us, right? Because if you go back to the history of the word woke, you can watch the Spike Lee movies. It's about knowing your surroundings and stuff like that. As for a black person, like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
now it's totally different. So I don't use that word. So I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, this is woke shit." Fuck that.
Hey, Perp Minded, how you doing, brother?
What up, Perp?
Yeah, yeah. AMBW, what do you have to say? I agree with you. Look, you know, the first couple of examples, all right, you know, kind of makes sense. I'm not into Star Wars that much, so I don't know exactly, you know, if it's true. I've watched all the films. I thought Luke, you know, okay, he was trained a little before he could fight, but you know, I guess they just wanted an action scene earlier. That's you know, I didn't see it as some agenda to say all women are super powerful, you know, or all women are, do you know what I mean, better than men or
Yeah, yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I just
Yeah.
saw it as they needed, they couldn't write into the story that she, because they wanted to make her be trained by Luke, right? And they weren't ready for that yet, and they wanted a fucking action scene with her in the first movie, so they did it lazily without, you know, explaining why she was able to keep up with this guy. But you could see she could fight from the beginning of the movie. So in any case, I'm not so, you know, I'll what do you call it, you know, I'm not gonna die on that hill because I'm not a huge Star Wars, you know, fan, and I don't know the lore that much. But
Gotcha.
yeah, like ever since then, it's just been a constant bomb. Like, how is this woke? Is are they trying to say Ariel's a Mary Sue? Is this the new thing? Ariel, the little fucking mermaid who just sings, is a Mary Sue? What is fucking woke about her? Other than she's black, it's been used as a fucking narrative by racists to try and explain away their racism. And you notice every time he,
Facts.
instead of saying she's black, he goes red flags or woke or uses some other, you know, like indecipherable language, and you know, no one could question him and go, what are the red flags? What red flags are you talking about?
Absolutely, 100%. You're correct.
Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, Norman, I think it depends on who's using the word and in what context. Because woke, I guess traditionally before, you know, all this, you know, negative woke talk, like it was probably used as more like, you know, as in more of like a positive context. And then when you know, movies like, again, like The Last Jedi or Captain Marvel comes out, you know, then they sort of twist the narrative to their own benefit, and then they use they use the word woke in a very negative context. For me personally, like when I'm talking about movies like Captain Marvel, Last Jedi, it's in a negative context because it's the writing
But
is sloppy, it's lazy.
but can you
Um,
understand? Look. Let me give you an example. I believe that black people, and you agree as well, Asian people are there's a certain amount of not discrimination, that we face from day to day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Now, there are people who agree with me that there's a certain amount of discrimination that black people face and Asian people face, but those people are super radical, and those people might say, for instance, that they want all white people killed, right, or something like that. Just because I have a point of agreement with them doesn't mean that I'm going to be like, I'll be like, okay, there's an aspect of what you're saying that I agree with, but you're full of shit. Do you see what I'm saying? Like there's not enough people. It's like, if just because you agree that like Star Wars, this particular Star Wars movie was trash, doesn't mean you should agree with every single person who says that movie is trash, because some of them are saying it's trash for ridiculous and quite toxic and racist reasons. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what I don't see enough of. I don't see enough of people calling out, even though you agree with someone on a particular thing. That doesn't mean you have to, like, just ignore, things that you yourself don't believe. Like, there's a bunch of channels, and I think it's shocking that have, I think quite cynically tried to use, for instance, the Rings of Power to get more subs by just hating on the show. Even though I
Yeah,
know those
absolutely.
people aren't like racist, or they ain't like, they don't think like that. But they see, oh, this is an opportunity to get these kind of people to like sign up to my channel or something like that. So they spew all this venom against it and just ignore, and try and minimize the clear review bombing. There's no doubt in my mind there was review bombing of that fucking show. That
Really?
was the clearest example of review bombing you've ever seen. So anyway, what I'm kind of like, as you can see, I'm pretty fucking passionate about this. And
it's
yeah,
fine.
go on.
Have you watched Ring of Power yet?
I've watched all 3 episodes, and you know what I think? I think it's fine. I don't think it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I think it's beautifully shot, directed, whatever. I think all the actors are doing a good job. No one's phoning it in or anything like that. They're all doing a pretty great job. And it's fine. It could turn out to be great. It could turn out to be shit. Like by the end of the run, right? People are saying, oh, it's boring. Nothing happens in the first couple of episodes. It's a slow burn. That's their excuses. When really, what we know, what a lot of them mean is like, we don't like the fact that there's a black elf, and we don't like the fact that there's a strong female at the center of the of the show, right? Because Lord of the Rings is a slow fucking burn, and trust me, I believe
The movies,
the second and third Lord of the Rings are fucking masterpieces, right?
I agree.
Like, especially the third one. But that first
Return of the
one
King.
is 2 fucking dwarfs walking around for fucking ages.
And if you watch the extended cut, and if you watch the extended cut, you realize how much of a slow burn it is, right? And I love those movies.
Exactly. So telling me like the first 2 episodes where a bunch of shit happens, like literally a bunch of shit. There's action scenes. There's a scene where like there's some sea monster like fucking going after them. There's orcs that they fight. There's people, there's all types of fucking things. More shit happens in those 2 episodes than the first fucking Lord of the Rings, the first 2 hours, no, hour and a half of Lord of the Rings. More shit happens. So it's completely on brand if you're saying it's a slow burn. But really what they mean, and it always comes out at the end, is they can't handle or they can't deal with the idea that an elf in a fantasy world can be fucking black. They can deal with there being dragons and orcs and fucking wizards and all of that kind of shit. But somehow having a black face in it or having a powerful woman at the center of it, somehow it distracts them from the
show itself.
From the show, and they can't suspend their disbelief anymore. And I even had this conversation with my best friend, and it was so weird, talking to him about it, because I'm like, you're talking about a fantasy world, and he kept bringing up, oh, what would you think if suddenly you saw a movie about ancient Egypt and there were a bunch of white people or Chinese people? I'm like, but that's real. Do you know what I'm saying? That's real life.
Yeah.
And giving examples like that, and I'm just like, and funnily enough, there were those films, by the way, with Egyptians, and they were all white, and there was never as much backlash.
Yeah,
there is now.
The recent one, Egyptians and Kings or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That had pure, was that what it's called? Can't remember the name of it, but there was some backlash on that because everybody's like, "Yo, this movie's so white, like there's no like really black people in there,"
Yeah, but then after backlash, there's a couple of fucking elves in No.
There's always a lot more when it's the other way around. Always. They don't like to see us in these shows. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I watched it, and it was kind of weird to me to see black people in it. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm not hating on it because, oh my God, there's black people in it. No, I was just like, not really used to seeing this Middle Earth stuff with black people in it, right? Because you watch the 6th Peter Jackson movie, there's no black people in there. But we never ran around making fucking videos. Oh, there's no good white people, black people in this movie. We never did that. We watched it and enjoyed it for what it was, right?
Right, but exactly.
They can't do that.
They can't separate, like, oh, I don't like this particular aspect, right? Maybe I don't think that there should be black elves because Tolkien described elves in a specific way. But that's just one element of the show. There are a whole plethora of other elements to the show. Let me just analyze it on that. No, they start a hate campaign before they've even watched the show. And then by the time the show comes out, they're so committed to their hate campaign that they can't back down. They have to say the show is 0 out of 10. 0, mind you, guys. Mm-hmm. There was a bunch of reviews that were 0 out of 10 for this show. You can't give the show 1 for the directing, at least? For the visuals?
Crazy. It was crazy. I don't think I've ever given a movie 0.
I think I did with Eternals.
Oh yeah, Eternals is up there. Eternals up there.
I did with Eternals, but even that Harry Styles thing brought a slight bit of joy to me. So I'd have to give it half a point for the Harry Styles, after credit scene. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't like, it's not me. I just said I didn't like the movie, and then I moved on. Mm-hmm. I did one video about it. Like, I don't like the movie. I think it's 0 out of 10. I think it's ridiculous. And that was, had elements of it that were not just the racial diversity. I don't think that's being woke, really. But I think that had like a couple of elements here and there, which were a little bit like forcing things into it that didn't naturally fit. Mm-hmm. I'll put it that way, rather than calling it woke. It just forced a couple of elements into that film that didn't really fit, that were a little bit more about like the politics than it was about the actual narrative of the story. But yeah, man, like I don't, and I'll say this last thing and then I'll shut up. But like it's really amazing to me. I don't know if you've been watching House of the Dragon, guys. Do you watch House of the Dragon? Yeah? Did you? Yeah, you don't watch it. You don't watch it. It is amazing to me the difference a dick makes, right? So white male, what's the guy's name from Morbius?
Jared Leto.
No, the villain from Morbius. What's his name?
Oh, Matt Smith.
Matt Smith. Matt Smith. Second episode, same week, mind you. It's the exact same week that these two events happened. Yeah. So Matt Smith, second episode, literally by himself beats half an army of like some of the, like people who have been shown to be some of the most badass sadistic fucking warriors that there were at that time. These were the crab people or whatever they were called, right? You remember this AMBW?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, he's running through like arrows and everything, killing loads of people. Basically, solos half the army by himself, then kills the crab guy after being shot in the leg 3 times and in the arm with an arrow. Just slices this guy in half. Same week, right? Galadriel from Lord of the Rings beats one ice monster, right? She beats one ice monster. She is a huge Mary fucking Sue. She's an unrelatable character. How can you relate to a character like this? And I'm telling you, the same fucking channels are going, oh, this Matt Smith guy is holding up the whole of House of Dragons, man. That was so badass what he did in this episode, man. Like, the same fucking people. You see the same, like, channel. One, the only difference between these two characters, one has a dick, one has a vagina. She does something, I would say, that's probably more feasible than what this Matt Smith character did. And she's more trained, and she's an elf, so there's a reason why she'll have this kind of strength. He's just like a human dude who beats half an army, and he's everyone's fucking hero. Same week as the fucking Galadriel shit. So that's what I wanted to mention. What did you think of that? Did you notice that, or is it?
I mean, I think, for me personally, like whether it's a man or woman, like it's always just entertainment. Like none of this shit is fucking real. And I feel like for the most part, like, humanity, like in general, has grown accustomed to seeing, straight white males, or you know what I mean, just like in like these leading roles and these big action roles and huge blockbuster roles where they're the leads. I feel like obviously, like racist people, ignorant people, they have the most difficult time processing anything that's different than that. But at the end of the day, whether it's a man or woman, like black or white or Asian or Hispanic, whatever, straight, gay, bi, like it's all just entertainment. Like most people, I mean, I don't get like, why like people like this guy right here, like, they get so worked up over, like a fucking remake of a 30-something-year-old Disney movie that's starring, a black girl instead of a white girl. Like it's I mean, it's so obvious that there's just part of their clickbait agenda or whatever to get views, but at the end of the day, like who cares? It's just entertainment, like people take it too seriously. They take it the wrong way.
And if anyone thinks I'm just being a dick about this, like, or just being over the top, I would ask you to look on YouTube and just put in. In fact, we could do it as just a thought experiment. If you put in Rhaenyra's, the House of Dragons character, and just look at what comes up, and then put in Galadriel, right? Like, and look at what comes up, and you'll see there's a stark difference, and it's all to do with like what they did in the last episodes, basically, where apparently one is, as you said, they're used to seeing white people in these roles, and they've become so accustomed to it that it's just fine. They take it as a matter of normality that a white dude can do all of this crazy over the top stuff, but as soon as they see a woman do it, it somehow flusters them because I don't know, the girl the prom didn't want to take them to the fucking date or whatever. They've held this anger and frustration their whole fucking lives about this chick who rejected them, and now they, to see a powerful woman, they have to have, she has to be trained on screen. We have to see, how, she has to have been trained hard. We have to explain exactly the mechanics and whatever of how it's possible for her to do this before it's believable. Whereas a man, it's just believable immediately.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. My problem isn't a strong woman like in the lead. Like, for example, you brought up Prey earlier. Like, I actually really like Prey, and I thought that there wasn't a ton of character development in it. Like, to be honest, there's not. Like, it's a pretty quick movie, but I would say that like they flesh, like for what it for what it was, they managed to flesh out her character to the point where she didn't seem like a Mary Sue. Like, like she makes mistakes and she gets her ass kicked the first couple of times or whatever. But, like really when you think about it, like that character, I forget her name now, but Amber Midthunder's character, like I thought she did a good job. I liked that movie. I thought, her character is relatable, even though she's a woman, because, she's not perfect. She makes a lot of mistakes in that movie. And I mean, I kind of cringed at a couple of lines, though. I'm not gonna lie, but in general, I thought no, that movie was not quote unquote woke or whatever. People want to complain about it. It was fine. In terms of like how people are perceiving Lord of the Rings, I mean, you just knew that like certain people were gonna go after it immediately. Like it's just like total just clickbait for them. But like yeah, in general, if people are not accustomed to images on screen, they might have a problem with it for whatever reason. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you God, I was wondering what you thought of what I just said. But I mean, it goes back. I mean, it's not just the girl from Prey. The girl from Prey was one thing, and it made no sense. I think they bent over backwards in the movie Prey to show her training, to show her abilities, to show, that the men were also badasses as well, to show everything these people ask for, and still they couldn't cope with it. Why is that? Because it's a woman, and because I mean, talk about people who deserve fucking representation. I mean, black people are one thing, and we are underrepresented. Asian people are underrepresented, definitely. There's no doubt about it. But talk about a group that deserves some fucking representation after the harrowing fucking history that they've been through, in terms of how they've been depicted in Hollywood. And one thing with them in it, and these people go ape shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But back in the day, we had Ripley, we had Sarah Connor. Those were strong women. If those women came out today, they'd be woke.
They'd be woke. And that's what I love. They always go back to those women and try and go, oh, like, oh, look at these women. This is how to do it properly. Like, if you see how they make them badass, but they're not, and it's bullshit. Especially the alien chick. If that alien chick came out now, they would go ape shit. She would be, they would say how woke, all the men are stupid on the ship. All the men get easily defeated by the alien, but one woman who's just like, what was she again? I think she was like part of a cargo ship. She had no training. She wasn't in the military or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they go back to Ripley, and Ripley herself, like, by all of their standards, there's no way that would have made sense. Like, or would have, if you're judging it by real world standards, which you shouldn't judge a movie by, right? There's no way you can explain how Ripley would have defeated an alien like that, or would have survived an alien like that. It's literally virtually impossible.
I mean, Yeah, a movie came out a few years ago. It was called Battle Angel Alita or Alita Battle Angel or something. I like that's probably my favorite movie of 2019. Like I don't remember, was that movie attacked also when it came out?
Actually, it wasn't. They tried to use that as an example of like a good, a good female hero. I don't know specifically why. I watched it and I thought it was absolutely good. I mean, I wouldn't say there was elements I liked about it, but I thought in general the dialogue and stuff like that was pretty. It was pretty hard to watch. That being said, I liked the character and I wanted to see where the world went afterwards.
Yeah.
But I think people were capping very hard for that movie because they didn't like, Captain Marvel. But again, I don't think people had got out of control by then. I think it's now that we've gone to a stage where it's just completely fucking out of control. Like it was one thing back then where people were, I still think they were going a little bit too far, with their criticisms of wokeness. But then some people jumped on that bandwagon and kind of now they're utilizing it for their own kind of means. And the main targets of this are, people of color and women. And it's clear as fucking day.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then shit, man. Black Panther 2 is gonna be like fucking gold mine for people like this, for
Oh,
this guy right here.
absolutely. They're gonna destroy Black Panther.
I don't think they will. Funnily enough, that's the one thing I think that's immune to them. I think there's a lot of other people who are going to be like people who want to see actual. Actually, it depends on what they do with that girl. But I think they don't care about. Here's the thing: because it's a black hero, they're not going to care about that. Trust me.
No,
because it was if it was a white hero initially, the guy dies, and then they try to make it a white girl replace him, they would go in ape shit. But because it's a black guy, a black hero, I don't even think they're going to mind too much. They're just going to be like, they might have a passing, thing about it, but they're going to think very deeply about it. And especially a guy like this, he probably didn't even like Black Panther. In fact, I know he didn't like Black Panther, right? There was a lot of people, they tried to make it get some traction, but it really didn't, where there were a lot of people who were trying to claim, that these had some criticisms about Black Panther, about the lack of realism about this utopian African culture, and criticizing how such a culture which is based on the what do you call it, like a monarchy in that kind of sense, is kind of very backward and wouldn't be as developed as it is in as it is in Black Panther law. That's what they tried to go with, like in terms of their criticism, but it didn't really gain any traction, so they just left it alone. But with other things, I think, like especially when it comes to Lord of the Rings, MCU movies, stuff like that, the Batman. I mean, we haven't even talked about the Batman. One line of dialogue caused some of these guys to hate the whole movie. The whole thing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I know you don't like it, and I don't know AMBW. I can't remember what you thought of the Batman.
Oh, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. But these kind of people were like, it said one thing about the girl said,
the rich white people.
Yeah.
That
and
line,
that was enough. It was woke.
I know. Bro, that's what they do, right? This is what they do. Everything is woke, or an agenda. Everything is an agenda. They're trying to fit their agenda, and they're trying to do this. Sometimes, and just sometimes, they don't do it for that reason. They do it because this is their vision. This is the way they see it. This is the way they want to do it. They say a retelling. You know what I mean? You still got your originals. If you're really that fucking upset about it, you still got your originals. Go back and watch those and
Right.
let people that
Don't
want to
watch
enjoy
this.
something different. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't
Absolutely.
watch this. Watch the originals. And who do they think they're defending? I mean, I know it's all bullshit anyway. Trust me. Like, but I'm just trying to give them like maybe try and give them the benefit of the doubt that they really are passionate and believe these things. And believe defending someone like Tolkien, because what are you defending him against? His family making more
real.
money? Like,
For real.
I'm sure Tolkien has an estate, right? Like people who
Yeah.
probably want like Lord of the Rings to continue making films and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
He gave whoever it was that he gave the rights to, you know, the Lord of the Rings at the end of his life. I'm sure he did. I may even look it up. He bestowed it upon them and said, you know what? I'm dead now. Do what you want with it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they want to fucking do. Either they sold the rights to a corporation for a lot of money, or they've kept some of the rights, you know, and are earning, you know, like what do you call it?
Residuals
Residuals or something off everything that's developed out of Lord of the Rings. So, you know, who are you defending it against? I don't understand what you're defending it against. So that's the one thing. They're like, we just want the Lord of the Rings movies and nothing else. Don't give me that shit. Of course you want the Lord of the Rings stuff to continue.
Yeah, of course.
You want the games, you want the, you know, so don't tell me you don't want Lord of the Rings stuff to continue. You're only saying that because there's a fucking black elf in your show now and you can't handle it.
Well, that's the thing. If you like the property, like I love Star Wars. I don't like anything that really Disney has done with Star Wars, but you better believe when the next one comes out, I'm going to be seeing it. I'm going to watch it
Yeah.
because I hope
You
for
want
them to be good. You know what I mean?
right.
I want
You
them
also
to be good.
think like some of these guys get so like their panties in a bunch. Like for instance, like the last Bond movie that came out, right? Like before it came out, everyone was saying, "Oh, they're turning Bond, you know, turning 007 into
Yeah.
a black woman," and
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like, no. I mean, Daniel Craig is literally in the movie still. It's not like they're just suddenly Bond is now a black woman. And also, it's like even before the movie came out, if you read the premise in the movie, it says that, you know, I forget the actress's name that was playing the character, but that she
Right.
has assumed the title because Bond is retired. It's not like
Right.
she is
Yeah.
James Bond. She is
Right.
007.
And
It's a job title.
And AB, when that movie came out and I watched it, or A, I'm sorry, when that movie came out and I watched it and I seen that she wasn't gonna be Bond, I was like, you see, all these guys did all that shit before the movie even came out and talked their bullshit, and that wasn't even the case.
It wasn't even the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing about that movie. It was a pure like Bond. Like I thought it wasn't that good. To be honest, I didn't really like it that much.
Yeah.
But like nothing about it was like she's taking over from Bond or
Right.
anything like that. And I think, you know, the thing now is I've got to the point where I want them to turn everyone into a black lesbian fucking woman. I used to be like, it's ridiculous to turn Bond into a woman. I want them to turn Bond into a woman now. Like
I said the same thing
really
there,
do.
man. I said the same thing. Give me a black Clark Kent. Give me all of it. If you guys hate
Give
it
me a
that much,
black
then I
lesbian
want to
Clark Kent.
see it. Absolutely. I want to
I
see
want a
it.
black
Damn
lesbian
right.
Superman. Fuck it. I want
Damn right.
an Asian fucking
Facts.
Robin. Do you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Fuck
Just to
this
piss
shit.
you guys off, then. If that's the case, then yeah, I want to see it just to piss you guys off. Because that's not what you guys want to see. And I can't go with that narrative anymore, man. And the thing is, like I said, we've talked about this when that fucking Ryan Kennel shit came out. I said, if we don't start talking about this stuff and we don't start nipping it in the butt, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And it is.
Yeah. I'm not gonna join the chorus anymore. I'm not gonna have any kind of nuance to this argument, because before I had a little bit of nuance. I was like, all right, if the character, if it doesn't, if it's written into the DNA of the character, the race or the gender of the character, then of course don't change their gender or race, right? Like then it will be jarring and it won't make sense. But
right,
you can't negotiate with these fucking clowns. You can't negotiate with terrorists. These goat-faced fucking idiots. So fuck it. I'm getting radical now. I like, sign me up. I want everything to be a black lesbian fucking cripple.
Yeah, never mind. You see, that's you see where you are now. That's how I was. I was getting so fucking frustrated to the point where I'm just like, you know what, fuck it. If they're gonna do it, do it, do it, do it. Make them black, make them whatever you guys don't like, do it, because you're gonna complain either way. It doesn't matter what they do, whether they try to do it the right way, you're still gonna complain. So it's obvious you're mad because of the color and nothing else, or the gender and nothing else. And the worst part about it is these guys have been represented in movies their whole lives. You know what I mean? But someone else takes a shine for a minute, and no, we can't have none of that. No, 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 no. You can't take our shine.
I mean, these guys, the
It's
balls
bullshit.
on them. The balls on these fucking guys. You know the Game of Thrones guy? he's basically producer on this new House of Dragons show, right? He's there. You see him literally there as they're shooting the fucking film, as they're shooting the TV show, right? He's literally there. The creator, the guy who made the fucking thing, wrote the books, and they're there complaining that a fucking guy, that a Targaryen is black.
Yeah. I heard that.
They were literally, now they're trying to co-sign it. Now they're trying to go, oh, House of Dragons did it properly. But you go back before House of Dragons came out.
Yeah.
They were going,
for sure.
Oh, how can a fucking, what's it called, be black? The show's woke, blah, blah, blah. The fucking creator's right there. It's not like Tolkien. You can't say, oh, he's fucking, he's rolling in his grave or whatever. He's there at the thing, shooting it. He was the one who probably agreed with the casting. What are you talking about?
Absolutely, 100%.
They did it with the Sandman guy as well. The guy who did Sandman, they start complaining to him about the change of the race of one of his own comic book characters.
And then they changed Lucifer to a woman or something like that. Donnie was telling me.
Yeah, they changed something to something. I don't know what it is. And they're there online complaining, and the creator comes out and goes, what are you talking about, you fucking racists? I get to do what I want with my creations. Yeah. And if you don't like it, don't watch. And they're like,
the worst. That's what I was gonna say. The worst part about it is when the directors or somebody comes out and defends it. It's like, you see, oh, they're attacking us. They're attacking us. I'm like, no, they're not. You guys attack first, bro.
Yeah,
you know what
that's
I mean.
Their whole tactic. Their whole tactic is now Amazon are saying that. Sorry, an AMBW. I want you to speak, man. Tell me what you think of this. What do you think of when they literally, the creator is there and has decided to, race change a character of his own, and they're still like going after the show?
I mean, people, if they don't like it, they don't have to watch it, ultimately. But it's just like, I feel like, you know what, I kind of, yeah, I mean, if the creator wants to race change it or sex change it or whatever, like, then that's up to them. I don't care about that. I think representation does matter, but I also really just, when it comes down to it, I really care about the quality of the storytelling, the script, and the acting, and the direction, all this stuff. And I feel like,
I don't care if I see any black lead or any Asian lead or any. I like it when I see it. It's nice to see when I see it, but I'm not going into a show and immediately going, it hasn't got any black people. It ain't got any white people.
Exactly. We don't do that, nerd man. You know what I mean? Like I said, I watched the Lord of the Rings, the 6 movies. No black people in it. I never sat there and said, oh my God, there's no black people in this movie. I can't watch it. This movie is racist because they didn't hire no black people. Stupid.
Yeah, no, I agree. There was a comment that I think Michelle Rodriguez from Fast and Furious made a few years ago or some time ago, and I think it was something along the lines of like, I'm. She was saying how like she doesn't want to see a lot of non or white characters or whatever get turned into non-white characters, whatever. I get her point. I That got me thinking about her comment. Saying that she wants more original characters, of color and minorities and women and all that stuff. I get it. But it also goes back to what I was saying. It's like I want more people of color, more black people, Asian, brown, all that stuff, women in leading roles and good roles too, not just
Yep.
in leading roles because there's not enough really good parts for actors of color nowadays, and that's another problem. Um,
Yeah, I
which I
mean,
think,
to
yeah.
be fair, yeah, go on, Karen, finish what you were saying.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, that's pretty much what I was gonna say, but yeah.
No, come, you were saying something, man. Like,
Oh
continue,
yeah,
because
no,
obviously,
sorry. No,
I,
yeah, no. So I was gonna say, I think I mean, just in general, there's a big problem with diversity in Hollywood. Um, a lot of some audiences don't like it when there's like a race change or whatever, and then some audiences, whether black or Asian or Hispanic, will complain, oh well, they're pandering or whatever, it's lazy, just like the actress was saying. There's a big fucking problem in general. But I think going back to the first topic of this conversation about this Little Mermaid trailer, I think this actress looked good for the part because visually it looks nice, but she's also a good singer, which is really important because anyone who's seen the original knows that this is a fucking musical, and so whoever they cast for that part needs to be able to sing. So that's like
mm,
part of the main appeal right there.
can we take this goat face off? If
Yeah.
I mean, I might want to play a little bit more later, but like, something else. So I wasn't gonna stop sharing, but yeah, take him off. He's
Oh,
really
okay, all right,
like,
yeah, hang on.
his face is just annoying. Um, yeah, I think I feel sorry for the girl because she's going to be attacked.
Absolutely.
Wait, hang on,
And
who's this? I don't know who this is. Who are you?
Oh, I'm no one. I'm just here to support
Oh,
Nerdman, you know.
Oh, Sean. Sean Avery.
What's up?
Yeah,
Sean, what's going
I
on?
really agree with the people attacking her. I think it's a great job by the internet. No, Jesus Christ. I will say I hated the trailer just because it looks bad, just like all the Disney live action remakes. But yeah, that's about it.
No, I did. I didn't really like the trailer. I'm not. I'm going to be totally honest, but I still feel sorry for the fact that, she. One thing I agree with. There's only one element of this narrative I agree with that does annoy me a little bit. Is like, I don't like that they swap redheads a lot with with black
Yeah,
people.
that
I
does
think
annoy
I
me
think
too, Nerdman.
I think that's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on there. Like, why they go, oh, redhead character. Really, I see a black person in that role instead. And there's nothing, because in a sense, it's not the essence of the character, but when you're a redhead character, it's a very distinctive thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
with Little Mermaid, I don't think it really fucking matters so much. But like, say something like Jimmy Olsen, or well, no, even Jimmy Olsen doesn't matter. I'm trying to think of an example, but like certain redhead characters, it's like an iconic aspect of their look. And so
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane, yeah, exactly, something like that. So that kind of bothers me, but other than that, I don't really see the fucking problem. I mean, I just
Like,
The only issue I have is I think they should have actually given her red hair.
maybe it
There's
didn't
black.
look maybe it didn't look cool because they probably tried that shit. Trust me.
Maybe. But her skin tone, I've seen black girls with red hair and her kind of skin tone. It usually looks good, but I don't know. Maybe it didn't work out. I don't know. But other than that, I have no issues whatsoever. I'm happy
like
for her.
I just think it's funny how like years. So there's like 5 underwater movies coming out. Like there's Black Panther 2, Avatar 2, Aquaman 2, the fucking Little Mermaid movie. Like, I mean, no wonder they started pushing everything back because like they're all
And
gonna come
guess
out
who
like
started it? DC, baby. Once again, trendsetters.
There we go.
Trendsetters. And nobody wants
by
to
the way,
acknowledge it.
well, I
There we
want to ask
go.
each of you, since I haven't seen any of you in a long ass time, what are your thoughts on Avatar 2? Do you think it's gonna be huge like the first one, or no?
I
I
don't
think
really
it's
know.
massive.
I hope it's well, I think the film is going to be good, even if it has some issues and stuff as from the first, and but I mean, how it will succeed, like the box office and everything, I don't know, but I think it might do good enough. I mean, as much as people mean the first, like this is, which I don't get to an extent, I get, but I also don't get still what it did for its time. But this is still like a giant
Do
budget,
you know what? You know
film by
what, bro?
a legendary director backed by the biggest company, like with tons of new technology. I don't know why why they say they aren't interested in seeing that, but whatever.
You know what it is, bro? Like, I swear I didn't get the first Avatar because the quality of the story was so basic and bad that the technology that was so impressive, like the visual element that was so impressive, just didn't make up for it. But this one is even more impressive, bro. I could just go to a cinema and just look at what I saw in that trailer. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the first one, yeah, it was impressive, but it wasn't like, oh my god, like visually what they're creating with this new technology is so visually stunning. I can just look at it and be happy. This one I could. I mean, that trailer was something. It really was, like the visual stuff they came up with in it. What were you gonna say, Anzo? Sorry.
Oh, I didn't like the first Avatar. And when I was like, I don't know, maybe it's too long. But after seeing what Top Gun Maverick did, I have a feeling that Avatar is gonna blow up too. I think it's gonna do
Yeah,
good.
I think it's gonna do a lot. Especially off that trailer. I mean, it would have to have really bad reviews, I think, for it to like fail somehow.
And even
I
then,
yeah. Oh no, I'm
you
sorry.
know
Go
what I
on.
mean? No, I was just gonna say, even then, if the reviews are bad, people are still gonna want to see it, right? Because that first one is the highest grossing movie of all times. So I believe that even if half of those people go to see this one, yeah, it's gonna be a doozy of a
Yeah,
movie.
and of course, maybe it will be attacked for being too woke because of the Native American, illusions that it has in terms of the narrative, the anti-colonialist message. They're
Yeah.
virtue signaling. They're virtue
Hey,
signaling because they're against colonialism.
if the first one had come out today, yeah, absolutely. Because you remember the narrative in the first one, right? So, government is bad. This is that. It's woke. Yeah, they would have said the same thing. Everything seems to be woke. It doesn't matter what you do now. It's just like, oh, this is woke. Oh, this is woke.
We're apparently woke, apparently, for having this conversation, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
AMBW, welcome to the woke club. Even though I don't agree with it, pretty much 80% of like woke politics that I've heard these days. I am somewhat of a lefty at heart, but like a lot of the woke politics that I hear I don't agree with. But apparently I'm fucking woke. This is what I've been told on Twitter anyway.
I
For
just
for
I
calling out and stuff.
No, it's cool. I like on the subject Avatar. I don't really. I'm kind of indifferent to the second one because I didn't really get all the love for the first one. The first one was fine. Like, if anything, it was kind of forgettable because I don't really. All I remember is that it was fucking long as shit, and that it was a really long movie, and for some reason it made a shit fuck ton of money. But me personally, I don't like the fact that like James Cameron, when he makes a really good movie, he's on fucking fire because he made
Yeah.
Terminator 1, Terminator 2, True Lies. I don't know what
There's
else.
another one. I like
Alien.
Titanic. I know
Yeah,
a lot of people don't like Titanic. I thought it was pretty good actually.
and
So
like he's choosing to spend the rest of his career, probably the rest of his life, period, making Avatar movies when he could be making more Terminator movies, more fucking more Alien movies, more True Lies movies. I want him to stop doing this shit and just go back to what he used to do, making R-rated action movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sigourney Weaver. Just do that shit.
I would
Because
even like
Avatar-
if he just continued more deep sea stuff. I like all that he was doing before.
Yeah, exactly. And now he has a boner for fucking Avatar movies.
Avatar, because it made $1 billion. It
Oh my
was the
God.
highest grossing movie of all time.
Of
so
all
it's just-
times, yeah.
Why? Like I don't understand. I get why I get why Marvel's so popular, but why is Avatar so fucking
do?
popular? I don't get it.
You get why Marvel so popular?
Yeah,
About
I
She-Hulk, yeah?
Oh god,
Well,
let's
She-Hulk-
not talk about She-Hulk.
God damn. She-Hulk. I'm sorry. That show.
Is the
Look, people are
worst.
saying, people are saying that there's no point to that show. With this episode, I'm starting to see what they're saying. There's only 2 episodes left of this fucking show. There's no.
No,
overarching-
actually there was 9. There's 9 episodes of this.
Oh,
series.
okay. Well,
Oh
all
my
right. Well,
God.
maybe
Wow.
maybe then it'll take off. But I don't know. Like, where the
I
fuck is
haven't seen
Daredevil?
a single. Yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
Daredevil's in the
Don't
next
worry,
one.
man. You're not fucking missing a damn thing. It's the worst. It's the worst series. It's the
It
worst
is.
one.
When Megan the fucking Stallion is the biggest is the most popular thing you can remember from that show, you're in trouble. Like, it's just, I'm sorry. Like, I like Megan the Stallion, but why is there a fucking scene where She-Hulk is twerking with Megan the Stallion? I'm sorry, I just don't like the comedy. MCU needs to be stopped. Like, they're going too
For
far.
real.
Too much
For real.
comedy. Every
For real.
fucking movie now. You know what? You know what I think what's the showrunner of She-Hulk said? They're gonna make Daredevil into like a lighthearted comedy character
No, I
or something
hope
like
not.
that, right? He's not gonna be dark. He's not gonna be dark, you guys. Like, it's just, what the fuck, man? Just stop.
Look, here's the thing, right? I've been telling you this for a minute, bro. I've been telling you this since fucking phase 2 of this shit. And
I don't want to
like,
be
they've
feeding
made
into
a
Nerd Man's
handful.
bullshit though.
No, they've made a handful of good movies. I'll give them that. But for 30, what is it, 50 something movies now? 50 including the series. Like, their strike rate is low, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Very, very
Mhm.
fucking low.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm sorry. And people were co-signing Thor Ragnarok. I told them, all right, co-sign it.
Garbage.
And then look at what happened. Look at what
Garbage.
happened with the next movie. I told them, you need to be critical of this shit. They're
Yeah,
making it into a fucking joke.
Absolutely.
And I don't even like Thor. I mean, I'm a fan of Hulk, but like, so it did kind of piss me off with Hulk a little bit, but
Mhm.
in general, I wasn't like super annoyed. I just thought this is hilariously bad, and I don't know why people are like, he wasn't working as this Shakespearean whatever character. Then maybe you just shouldn't make 4 movies, because that's
Facts.
what he is.
Facts. Keep him in like team up movies and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But they completely destroyed his character. Completely.
It's
I don't like it.
unredeemable now. It's
Yeah.
unredeemable.
I agree.
As is Hulk.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, out of all the Marvel characters that Marvel has somehow butchered, like, Hulk is the worst, the biggest offense. Like, it's just,
Facts.
I don't know why. Like, does Kevin Feige not like the character? Like, does he
Oh,
have
yeah.
some sort of past childhood trauma associated with that character that he's like, okay, now that I have the rights to him, now I'm gonna fuck him up as much as possible.
Oh yeah, it probably finds him boring.
I don't understand it, because, like, I swear to God, like, even above Iron Man, in the first Avengers movie, people were talking about the Hulk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
When that first Avengers movie dropped, the
Mhm.
Hulk was like the Mr. T of the fucking of the Avengers, and people
Yep.
loved him.
Yep.
People loved the character, and like I loved him in that movie. I
Yep.
was like, yeah, he was a bit goofy at times and whatever, and I wasn't feeling. No, I was feeling it. I was like, it was fine, as long as he's the raging Hulk and whatever. I didn't mind a couple of jokes,
Mhm.
like, oh, he punches Thor or whatever,
But-
when he's.
But that's why I
when he's
love
brought
that
out people
scene,
to
Nerd
fight.
Man, because that's what Hulk would have done. That's why I loved it so much. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what Hulk would have done. He would have fought with them, and then when the fight was over, he would have beat the shit out of them. So I was like, I was good with that, and then they went and destroyed his character pretty much.
Yeah. I thought he made that was the one good thing, or that this this director has done. Josh Whedon is that Avengers movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
maybe just hire. I don't know if it'll happen now or ever, but like maybe just hire Joss Whedon to make a Hulk movie. And maybe because he seems,
Ah.
he seems to have the character like the best out of anybody in the MCU. Like, just have
Yeah,
him.
everybody else destroyed him. To be honest with you.
Yeah, the fucking Russo brothers, like
Yeah.
everybody's kissing their ass. It's like you saw what they did to Thor and Hulk, right? Like they turned them into fucking jokes.
Yep.
And dude, like here's the thing, like with Thor: Love and Thunder, I haven't talked to you about you guys yet, but that movie, what ruined that movie for me, or not ruined it, but like soured it for me, is that they treated cancer like a fucking joke in that movie. Like when I'm assuming everybody here has seen that movie, but
Yeah.
when Jane Foster dies in that movie, I didn't feel a damn thing. I
didn't feel a
I
damn
was
thing
laughing.
I didn't feel a damn thing when Aunt May died in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Stop your
I
Oh, that
didn't
was
feel a
funny.
goddamn thing.
Stop your shit, man.
No, I'm not. You come on. Even now, you're still co-signing for that movie.
Great
Even
power
Absolutely.
comes great
even-
responsibility. Ugh.
Absolutely.
Even after the hype has died down, come on, bro.
Yep.
That movie
I'm
was
still co-signing that one.
That movie was okay at best. Okay at best.
So, with all the movies that came out, right? What's better than it? I'm talking
The
Marvel
Batman.
movies. No, Marvel movies. Out of all the movies Marvel
Doctor
put out,
Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
that's
is way
the
better.
only one.
It's way
And
better.
that says a lot
That's
about
the
its universe
only
right
one,
now.
though. That's the only one that's better than, in my opinion, as well, to Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, but Anza, wouldn't that say more about how bad the universe is right now than the quality of No Way Home?
Yeah, but it's still saying it's the second best. You know what I mean? Regardless, because it could have been a shit show.
I'm not. You can say what you want. I think Black Widow's better as well.
Oh,
Black Widow's a
hell
better
no.
movie.
Black Widow
Hell
is so
no.
poorly made.
I'm
Actually, I
sorry.
went back and I watched Black Widow, and actually I hated it the first time I watched it. The second time, like I actually really kind of liked it. Like it's not perfect. Taskmaster is beyond trash in that movie,
Oh yeah.
but and then of course you knew that they were just gonna shit all over Red Guardian, and they did. So I don't
No, but
appreciate.
he was funny though. At least he
Oh,
was
right.
actually genuinely funny. I mean,
He
like
was.
it wasn't like, okay, if you're gonna make a comic relief out of a character and he's not gonna have great action scenes, at least make his comedy relief funny. And it was. So
Yeah, it was. The character dynamic in that film outside of garbage Taskmaster was good.
Great. I agree.
Yeah, but the film was kind of poorly made, and especially that has some of the worst visual effects in there, and even some of the newer ones. Jesus.
I think they should have killed Red Guardian. It would have had more of a stakes to the movie. You know what I mean? Somebody.
I'm glad they
should have
kind of didn't though, because that would have been so cliche, in my opinion.
I'd have been fine with it. At least it would have been something a little bit like, oh shit, they actually killed somebody. You know what I mean? But other than that, there was no
It
stakes.
would have been cliche. I think that was predictable if they did.
yeah, but it was predictable if they didn't.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, either way, it's fucking predictable. I don't really see how, like, either you kill someone or you don't. Like,
right.
So, you can predict either one quite easily. I agree with you. I think he would have been better served to have a good action scene at the end where he's like fighting for his daughters, like to keep this monster away from his daughters, and he died. I think that would have been much better. But I liked him. I liked the performance. I liked, whatever he did. I just thought his action was shit. Like
his fight scene, because they kept cutting away from it, right? They gave him like it was like he was fighting Taskmaster for a bit, and they cut away from it. It was a poorly cut fight, man. It was dumb.
That's what I'm sorry. Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying about all these Marvel movies that are not Avengers movies. Like the action is always subpar, because I feel like, and I think we all know by now that Marvel typically uses the same, action
Action
choreographers or
directors.
whatever. They have their own designated ones for the movies, but it's just like come on, man. Like it's so noticeable that they saved all the good action scenes for the Avengers movies. Like really name one Marvel movie outside of maybe the Winter Soldier that like the action is really memorable aside from the Avengers. Because they do that shit on purpose, and it's so fucking annoying every single time.
I mean, people try and make out like Winter Soldier had really dope action. It had good action. It didn't have like like action that seemed really unique or innovative or anything like that. It did what it needed to do on the tin. Like it had some good action scenes. Straight up, I'm not going to even lie. But outside of that, I think you could literally take any action scene from an MCU movie that isn't like, say, Avengers, because there's just so many characters, so it would be noticeable. But you could take any action scene and just swap it around from movie to movie, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, like who directed it. You know what I'm saying? So like for instance, all right, say the Batman or Wonder Woman, right? I don't think the action is great in either of those movies, but you can tell that it was directed by an individual. It wasn't done by like some kind of committee. It was like there's an actual visual language they use in those movies that tells you, oh, it's the same person who directed that.
Yeah, I mean, and even when I was watching like Shang-Chi, like that movie is supposed to be like the greatest martial arts scenes ever. That's bullshit, dude. Like they're fucking that movie. The action's very subpar in that movie. Just in general, Marvel is by now they're very formulaic. You know exactly what to expect. They're Don't get me wrong, but I feel like Phase 1. I've said this before. Phase 1 is probably still the best phase so far, because it feels like that was not made by a committee. That was made by an actual studio who is hungry to prove themselves. And now all the movies literally feel like they're off a fucking assembly line. And I don't mean to sound like a hypocrite because I watch them. At the same time, it's like I want more from all these movies. I feel like that's the thing. I feel like DC, even the fucking action in Shazam was more memorable than most of the action movies in the MCU so far. You know?
Shots, shots fired,
yeah.
Onzo. Shots fired, bro.
I don't even like
disagree,
Shazam
but-
that much, but you know.
I like Shazam, but I don't think the action is the best thing about it. But like, I do like Shazam.
Yeah, I like Shazam a lot.
By the way, didn't they just move that? Like, I mean, it's been a while, but they pushed that back like another year, right, or something like that.
No, it's
I
just
believe it
a
was
few
another.
months.
They pushed it forward a year.
Oh,
No, not a year. It was like a few months, and I think
Yeah,
they
but
did
it changed like years though. Release.
No, but they did the right thing, man. Come on, like whoever
Yeah.
put it up against fucking Avatar is nuts.
dude, honestly, fucking
What,
man,
like, mhm.
bro. If they had just released, if all the movies had stayed the same, we would have gotten Black Panther 2, the first water movie. Like a few weeks later, you get fucking Aquaman 2 and Avatar 2, all Aqua movies in this like within weeks of each other. That would have been fucking hilarious.
I would have fucking drowned myself. Jesus.
They would have killed each other off. They would have, somebody had to move. And I think Wakanda Forever's box office might be hit by the one that I don't think MCU movies are. I think they're on a downward trajectory, and then secondly, I think Avatar. People are probably going to want to see Avatar around Christmas rather than be reminded of
Chadwick Boseman's death.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I hope that doesn't reach $1 billion. I just can't stand that they didn't recast him personally, but people disagree. But whatever.
I don't mind if it's a good movie, but I very much doubt that having Riri Williams as Black Panther is gonna be a good idea.
I will say the trailer looked good, but it looked very like manipulatively edited. You know, that's what it felt like. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think because look what happened with after Paul Walker died, like Fast and Furious, that movie made like almost $2 billion worldwide, and a lot of it was because of the curiosity factor. People wanted to see how they would handle the Paul Walker situation.
Yeah, but that wasn't going against like Avatar 2.
Oh, no.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I
no,
don't.
exactly.
I mean, they. What do you say? It's 3 weeks after Avatar comes out.
It's like end
if
of
it's a
what, like
month.
Christmas time?
So
I mean-
Avatar's coming out after it, or is it coming out before?
No, Avatar's coming out like I think at Christmas time.
So if Avatar's coming out before, and then Black Panther is coming out like 2-3 weeks earlier, then I don't think Black Panther's making $1 billion.
I don't think it's going to make $1 billion either anyway. So,
I mean, if it gets horrible reviews, which I don't know, because I don't know. Like, I mean, have they started doing press or like screenings for it yet? Because I know they just started doing reshoots for it and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, like the trailer. I'll be honest, the trailer for Black Panther 2 looked better than I thought it would. But again, just like Sean was saying,
yeah, but they put a
very
slow
manipulative.
version of Bob Marley, like, which didn't even make sense, because what are you talking about? No woman, no cry. He's a man. What's no woman, no cry got to do with it? I didn't understand that. Like, I didn't understand why everyone's so like, oh man, this is just so like touching. No woman, no. He's a dude. Like, who are you saying? What woman are you talking about that we shouldn't be crying for? Are you trying to prepare us for the fact the woman's taking over from Black Panther? I don't get it.
Probably.
I really didn't understand that. I honestly, I was trying to like figure it out.
I think you might just be reading a little bit too much into that. It's just a song.
No, I know it sounded good, and you know, it was a good cover of the song, but I was at a loss to understand what relevance it had to Chadwick Boseman dying. Because clearly that's what it was referencing, right?
I still think they fucked up. They should have just recast it or pushed it back further and then recasted it.
Oh, they definitely should have been pushed back. But...
Dude, I think someone should do a social experiment. Put that song behind any trailer and then put it in slow motion. Like, I swear to God, it would have the same effect.
Yeah, it's so manipulative. Like, and people are fucking buying it. It's like, holy fuck.
I don't know. I think box office wise, it will probably come close or maybe even make more. I think the Paul Walker thing is.
I think it will definitely make around 800 mil just because of that, at least.
Yeah, probably.
You never put it past the MCU, man. After what Spider-Man No Way Home did, after my bet with Onzo.
I mean, everybody knew that. Besides,
yeah.
After my bet with Onzo about the Batman, I'm not putting anything past the MCU.
We all knew what the Batman was not going to do, except you. But okay.
Yeah,
it was unlucky.
I mean, if the theaters in China didn't close down again when it released, then it would have had a chance to reach around 900 mil, I think. But I still don't think it would have made the billion.
I think it would have if it wasn't for the Russian war as well. I think that really, people underestimate how much that hurt like box office, because in Europe, like, you were having like just influxes of Ukrainians coming into, you know, the country. So it's like it was very present in everyone's mind, and then having a like really dark movie around that time, just when it started, was, I think, a little bit bad luck for it.
Well, that is actually true to an extent. Like, you know, a lot of people don't want to see like a dark film during dark times. That is true, but that's also, you know, the case in general as well. That's why, you know, that's why that's another, unlike something like fucking Zack Snyder's films to an extent, like the Batman's a 3-hour slow-paced burn that's very dark, and it's not, you know, it's not in like the style of like the other DC films. So yeah, it's not going to be like an audience pleaser at all. So the fact that people actually thought that it would make like over $1 billion and that it's a failure if it doesn't is just ridiculous. Like, you know.
Yeah, it is a super fucking dark film, and it is like, I mean, it's at times it's literally fucking dark. I couldn't see shit, but it was just like it It's a good movie. I mean, it's a very good movie, and it kind of reminds you of like when Blade Runner 2049 came out. That movie also disappointed. I mean, like financially, probably bigger disappointment, but it was just it kind of tells you it's like these movies that come out, they get great reviews, and then not a whole lot of people go to see them, or kind of underwhelms or whatever. And
Because
then you
they're
have
not MCU. Because the MCU have the devil
exactly.
in their hearts. The MCU fans have the devil in their hearts,
Mhm.
and they look honestly. No. Let's get into this.
Let's give this example. If Thor was the lead, it was the main character in the Northman, and it had MCU on it, then they would all see it, wouldn't they?
And they'll be calling it classic masterpiece.
Yep.
MCU has done it again. This is
But
what
the
I'm talking about.
Northman, the Northman was garbage, though.
Oh, you lying bastard!
No, it was garbage. I didn't like it.
It wasn't as good as people were making up, bro. Come on.
No,
Like,
it's not good. It's not that great.
Admit that, Sean. It was good, but it wasn't
It's
as
great.
good as
Come
people
on.
were making out. See, this is
Well, I don't
talking
think
about.
it was I don't think it was quite a masterpiece, and I do think there was like studio interference with some things, and also holding it back from going like darker than Edgar, or more weird than Edgar Wright wanted to, because Perfect
Edgar Wright?
World is a horrible company, but I did think it was pretty excellent though, but
Edgar
not
Wright
as good as
directed
like
it?
some of his others.
Caca.
No, it wasn't terrible, dude. It was.
No.
You see, it's always going to be extremes on the internet. It wasn't terrible. It was a good, solid 7.5 movie. It wasn't a masterpiece. It
I
wasn't
give it like an 8.5 at least personally, but
I
I
didn't
didn't get
see-
through the whole movie.
But yeah, I know your taste though now, so
I couldn't get through it.
I think there's a certain type of movie that you shouldn't be allowed to criticize because
Really?
yeah,
Why?
no, because it's purely subjective. You just don't like kind of serious tone, dark. I don't know exactly how to
That's
explain
not true
it.
either. That's not true
No,
either.
I don't know how to explain it, but there's a certain type of movie, like I swear to God, like you
the
just
type like The Dark Knight, but The Dark Knight does deserve its hate though. I'll give on to the win there.
The Dark Knight, the Batman.
No,
Wait, hang on. Wait, Sean, you don't
there's
like
a
the
lot
Dark
of
Knight?
no, I like The Dark Knight. I just think it's grossly overrated. Yeah, we can get into that
all
another
right, all right.
time.
Onzo, do you like Fight Club?
It was all right.
Okay,
Okay, at least you didn't say that's bad. Okay.
American History X? No, sorry,
Oh.
not American History X.
Yeah, of
'Cause
course.
You'll like that because it's race involved. No, I was thinking American Psycho.
Oh, absolutely not. Christian Bale's in that. Fuck that
Right.
movie.
Okay. So, I can't remember if you like gangster movies or not, though.
Absolutely.
Like Scorsese, you like the Scorsese movie. See, there's
Goodfellas.
a certain type of thing. Onzo's got a certain type of swag, like where he likes man movies. You know what I'm saying? Like man movies.
Mhm.
But then if it drifts too much into like a certain dark kind of semi-cerebral kind of thing, you don't vibe with it.
Oh
It
yeah, he would
depends.
probably
Like
hate
that.
The Lighthouse.
It depends. I have to think of a movie that I liked like that, but there's some I like.
Okay, so wait, what you say you don't like American Psycho because of Christian Bale, but I mean, listen, I'm not a huge fan of Christian Bale either. Like, I do think he's obviously a good.
I liked Memento.
I mean, I do think he's a good character actor. Like,
Good
what he does
character
for his roles is fantastic,
like
and he is
Memento.
more than good. But I mean,
What was it?
I do think he is kind of overrated in a lot of other roles. But I mean, you're saying you don't like him you don't like a film just because he's in it, but not judging his actual performance in it.
I didn't like his performance either, to be honest.
Really?
No, I didn't like it.
I mean, it feels more
think-
like you just didn't like the character because he did
No,
everything.
I think he's overrated as an actor.
But he did everything that was asked of him, and more it just sounds like he didn't like the
Doesn't mean he did it good.
character.
Because he did it doesn't mean he did it good.
Here's the calculation. I've got the calculation now, right? The more kind of dark a movie is in nature, the better the action or the cool factor to it has to be for Onzo to enjoy it.
Well, no, I liked Memento.
Let me-
Memento didn't have no action in it.
I know, but then it's got a cool factor. That's I bet
At
you,
least you
I
say
bet you
like
you
the
like
movie, that's good.
you like Quentin Tarantino movies, right?
Depends.
Like Pulp Fiction and all of that.
I hated Pulp Fiction.
See, I can't even with you. I don't.
I hated
But you like
Pulp Fiction.
Reservoir Dogs.
I liked Reservoir Dogs. Yes.
Yeah. I
Okay,
thought
so
you
he's
liked
like
Reservoir-
jaded. Okay.
It's
Did you like Kill Bill?
Yes, the first one.
he likes Kill Bill.
You
because he's
didn't
got,
like the
martial
second
arts
because there
and
wasn't
all that.
enough blood, wasn't there?
No, I didn't like the
There's
second
not
one. The
enough
second one I
action
liked that.
because that's why he likes Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's the reason, and he even likes BVS a little bit, right?
I like
Because
BVS
it's
a
got,
bit. Yeah.
because it's got dope action.
No,
so
but it has a lot of issues with it. But yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's.
No, I don't get people who say they like BVS because of the action. The action scenes are filmed like an 8-year-old having a sword fight with each other.
No.
Like holy
Yeah.
shit!
No, I don't know what you're talking
No,
about there.
no.
Yeah,
No,
it's
like-
actually just so childish.
There's a lot of bad things you could say about BVS, but the action is not like one
The
of
action at points is good, but at other points is pretty fucking abysmal, especially just the one with Superman and Batman themselves. It was actually
That
just
was-
like 2 8-year-olds playing in the garden.
absolutely terrible. The worst action scene in the movie is the Batman v Superman fight.
Yeah, it was actually like 2 8-year-olds like having a sword fight, you know.
But take away Batman killing from that Batmobile chase. That's one of the best Batmobile scenes ever. Take
Facts.
away, the Batman in the warehouse scene. The Trinity fight scene was pretty fucking well done if you take away how Doomsday looked. But the actual Trinity fight scene was pretty well
good.
done.
Yeah, it was good.
So there were quite a few I'd say pretty technically good action scenes in that movie, but the story was the problem.
I've always had problems with the Trinity fight scene because I know Batman is just a normal man with no powers, but dude, he was a fucking bitch in that whole scene. He was running away.
But that's what I liked about it. That's what I liked about it. I don't like seeing Captain America holding up Thanos' hand. Like, dude, it doesn't make sense.
Because he has powers. Batman doesn't have power, but I mean, it's just like it's still like it's fucking Batman.
I know that Onzo was about to defend me, and then I said that, and then he had to.
And then I shut up because, I agree. Batman has to be running away. He can't go up against Doomsday. He can't even attempt that fight.
Yeah, I agree there.
You know what I mean? He can't even attempt.
I like that. That was realistic for me. I'm sorry to say this. I know Onzo, you're going to disagree here, but that's precisely what an MCU movie would have done. They would have made Batman doing shit to Doomsday that he shouldn't be able to do. And I would have been like, what the fuck's going on? Why is he doing all that? Just because he's popular, he can do anything to Doomsday. So I kind of like that. But on the other hand, I do like the other side of it. As long as it's not taken too far, I do like to see Captain America do some badass shit. You know what I'm saying? But when it's taken so far that he's tussling with what was his name? Fucking Thanos. Like he's holding up his arm. That to me was too much. But when he had the Thor's hammer or whatever, that was dope.
Yeah, that part was cool. I did. And for me personally, Endgame was probably one of the top 5 watching a movie in a theater experiences because that movie, the whole audience was cheering a lot.
Because the whole audience were pretending it was good with you.
And I remember this a while ago. I remember you saying about Shang-Chi that you walked out because people were having a good time watching
exactly.
the movie. I remember that shit.
That's nerd man for you.
He said he was about to walk out because of the cheering during No Way
Home.
I
did walk out. Oh yeah, no, no, I didn't walk out of No Way Home. I just fell asleep.
You said you wanted to though, because everybody was happy.
No, I don't think I wanted to. I thought No Way Home. I think I defended it when it first came out. It was just as I watched it again, I just thought it's mediocre. It's the only thing that's good about this is that it brought back the two Spider-Men and a couple of the villains.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Like,
it's very mediocre. You take everyone out, and it's the movie is just not as good. Like if they weren't in it, I heard that if they
no,
couldn't get
call
any of
that
them,
Flyman. Call that Flyman, right? That movie is
Yeah.
now Flyman, right? And the
Yeah.
premise of the movie is it's a new movie, new IP. Flyman is in one reality, and he, accidentally opens a multiverse where other Flymen come to meet him, and his villains come and meet him. And you take that precise same narrative. What would you think of that movie? And then do this, just so that you know that I'm being fair. Take the Batman, right, and that narrative of the Batman, and like replace it with whoever. I don't know, like Snake Man or something like that. The quality of that movie, whether you like it, dislike it, love it, stays the exact same. Whereas the quality of Spider-Man No Way Home drastically fucking drops if you change the character's name on the top of that.
If you change who?
If you change the character's name, like to Flyman or whatever, another character, the quality drastically drops of that movie. And you can't tell me that's and I'm giving you might hate the Batman, but that movie does not fucking change at all by changing the lead character, or it changes slightly. It's still going to be either an engrossing movie to you, an engrossing murder mystery, or you're going to be bored by it.
Yeah, it's probably going to be trash.
I'm not gonna lie. Like for me, the only real superhero movie that I'm kind of looking forward to, but I'm still very cautious about, is Blade, because I think Kevin Feige has already said it's gonna be PG-13. That sucks. But I mean, look, next year, what does the MCU have? Ant-Man 3, Captain Marvel 2, and Guardians 3. I'm not looking forward to any of those movies except Blade.
I'm looking forward to the Flash.
I liked, Guardians 1 probably more than any other MCU film, or tied with like a couple. And I did not hate Guardians 2 as like other people. I mean, there were definitely issues, but I still thought it was a solid sequel, continuing with the characters, did its job. Solid. I'm not looking forward to the third, though. I do think I don't have the most hope in it being good, but there's really nothing I'm excited for outside of. Actually, there's nothing. Jesus fuck, because Blade being PG-13. I'm sorry, I can't get over that.
You haven't been excited for anything since I don't know, your day of birth or something like you don't get excited about. Don't tell me.
I get excited for a lot of things. It's not this trash MCU stuff at Nerd.
What do you get excited about? Tell me one thing you've been excited about coming up. Like recently.
What, films in general or superhero? Because superhero, I can even name a bunch. Well, I was excited for No Way Home, even if it was just for nostalgia. I was excited for the Sam Raimi, Multiverse of Madness film, just because it's Sam Raimi.
Wait. Stop. Onzo, do you remember this motherfucker being excited for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
Well, I didn't say it out loud many times on streams, but I did say it before, and in my mind, yes, I was. I don't say everything out loud, and then I was also excited for the Batman, even though I think Matt Reeves is very overrated.
Wow.
And that film proved it, because his camera work was the weakest part of the Batman, but...
Onzo, he will say anything, won't he? Onzo, do you remember him being excited about any of these movies? You've watched them on yeah.
No.
Sure. You were excited about nothing. You were every single thing.
Yeah.
Every single thing you had negative.
What are you talking about? I have had so much hype for the Batman coming, even despite Matt Reeves directing it, and I thought it would be excellent. All right, I had so much hype for the cast of it.
He's like an imitation jaded fanboy. He hates everything.
What?
Everything.
And also, if you want to look outside of the comic book trash, I'm excited for loads of stuff. It's just, MCU is trash these days, and always.
Yeah, that's the only reason we go. Oh, you're a little bit better than jaded. That's the only reason.
So basically,
other movies that you're like a little
Okay,
bit.
so you're
Exactly.
calling me a mini jaded because I don't get excited for like 80% of garbage MCU films.
Wow.
Yeah, you basically like it's like you're not a red a red blooded like pumping through your heart like guy like nerd like oh my god, I can't believe that they're actually doing a movie with like fucking Captain America and Iron Man. I never thought I'd see this in my whole fucking life. Like that's how I feel about it. Like
Absolutely.
they're doing a fucking
You see
detective
that
noir
was me
Batman,
with that was me with seeing those Spider-Man characters on screen again. Never thought I would see that, and
Right.
after how long I saw
Spider-Man
the
coming together, right? Exactly.
yeah, so but with other stuff,
And you still hate the movie.
well, with others, I didn't grow up reading comic books, or the characters just suck. But stuff like Iron Man, I was, and the film was good. But other characters I don't care about as much, or now all the films they've been making, like 95% of them are trash. So I have no faith in them being good. So that's why I'm not excited. Like I would be excited for a new Blade because I really like both of the Blades, but I'd have no faith in them doing a great job with it, especially since it's PG-13. Like, what do you want me to say, nerd man?
I want you to explain what you said to me on Twitter.
What did I say?
Because it came at me a little bit, but
wait, but on what post? If you're talking about the one on Rings of Power, I was just fucking with you.
No, I don't think you came at me as like so hard, but there was you remember this strand with of discussion I had with Paul and Pickle. I'm just curious, what is your take on all of this stuff? Because you did mention to me like, oh, you can be critical. I can't remember exactly what you said. I'm trying to look for it. But I was talking clearly about like internet trolls who were like,
if you're talking about whatever you talking, I did not even come at you, nerd man. I was saying, okay, let me find the tweet. That wasn't me coming at you at all. Did you actually read it?
Did you dislike the show though? Because you dislike everything, so I know you dislike the show.
I watched the 2 episodes so far. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it outside of like some things. I do think it's just a poorly made show. I think the CGI is just there are many moments that are just like looks like a green screen and oversaturated. I don't care as much about certain characters. There are a few though that I like.
The first Lord of the Rings like trilogy looked like CGI like stuff though. Like,
but in the first one they used the CGI well and for its time and with the light, and that's the thing of why CGI. Another reason why CGI looks poor nowadays, not just because of how they and try and as much to make the films good, but also and artists back then not getting as mistreated as in around the mid 2000s when they started really getting mistreated. But the lighting is very important. That's why The Hobbit looked so bad. The oversaturation of this CGI in comparison to something like Lord of the Rings. That's why stuff like Lord of the Rings holds up so well, even if it's like way more outdated CGI, obviously, and stuff like The Host 2006.
Can I ask AMBW and on I don't know how old you are at AMBW. How old are you? Like,
I'm
like
35.
You're 35, and Onzo. I know your age anyway. But like, I don't get bothered by CGI if the story is good. Like CGI is not something that I like really, because I grew up where like special effects just look trash, like, and you just had to accept it. So and just you almost had to use your imagination to fill in the gaps that CGI couldn't when I was growing up. And now
I mean, no, man, CGI isn't an important thing to me. It is, but it is one thing. But it's not one of the most important things to write in, and all that stuff is the most important to me. But anyway, this was my reply. I said
you mentioned like, CGI a lot, but anyway, go on.
Yeah, well, just because it's the most, basic, because I don't want to go too into it since I haven't, like, been caught up yet. I'll go more, like, in-depth with my complaints when I finish, but if you want to. But this was my point. I wasn't coming at you at all. I was just making a short point. Well, it is fine to criticize something before it releases if it looks bad in the trailers and promotion and clips we saw, because that's fair. That was your response to, the trolls, review bomb and shit and hate and shit before it even released. And then I said it's fine to say
But it's not
looks
fair
bad.
enough to do it because
It's
you
fine
don't
to
like
say
the
that you
race
personally
of the
think
characters.
it looks bad so far, and you don't know if you're excited for it. But
Sure, you can say a trailer doesn't look good.
then I said, but as long as you still give it a fair chance / open mind going into it. And then I just said, I hope you do not mean that crowd for hating on the show before you even watch it, and just a crowd of people like review bombing it. That's what I said. When was I coming at you, Nerdman?
I wasn't majorly impressed by the trailers for Lord of the Rings. But I don't care about Lord of the Rings, so it didn't bother me.
I wasn't
But
impressed with it at all.
I
They
started,
look terrible.
what I started noticing was that the criticism was more about the race of like 3 characters, basically. Like all the rest of the cast is white, by the way. So that's when I was like, oh, actually, this isn't about like what the trailer looked like or anything like that. This is about, proving that a show is bad because you don't like that they change a certain details about the mythology, and really you don't like the race, swapping kind of thing. So it doesn't matter if the show's entertaining or not, or like even if it's just like, hey, that's an entertaining show, I'll see what happens. It doesn't matter that. It's like you have to prove that it's absolutely fucking garbage trash, and it isn't. That's it. I mean, like, watching the show, it's fine.
I don't think it's trash at all, but I don't think it's good.
Yeah.
I think I agree. Sean, I don't know if you said this or not, but like I think on the topic of Lord of the Rings, I think the original trilogy is probably the greatest cinematic trilogy ever made.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think it's the best trilogy, personally.
I think, and then after that, I think it's Star Wars, the OT.
Star Wars, and there are others, like I don't know if you want to count the Cornetto trilogy, but that could be up there if you love the third film, and then the Before trilogy.
I think and then also capping hard for
I love both of those. Then I love the new Planet of the Apes trilogy. I like, even though I know Matt.
Okay, now that's capping hard, but okay.
To me, those are like the best modern day trilogies like ever.
I think the Planet of the Apes is better than both of those trilogies. You just because Lord of the Rings, I'm sorry, it's hurt by that first movie. That first movie is a fucking slog, and then you have to get through that. You have to get through that movie to get to the good stuff.
Yeah, but the first movie,
like in the second and third, is it though? Is it really?
It is.
I was watching it recently, and I was like, "Man, this is." It felt like 8 hours, just the first 1.5 hours.
It's okay to be wrong, Nerdman.
No, I'm sorry. I tried to give it a fair go. I watched it recently, like I think maybe 3 months ago, because actually, Sean, you can co-sign on me on this because you've read some of it. I was writing a fantasy novel.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right, so I was like, oh, I should at least, if I'm not going to read Lord of the Rings, I should at least watch the thing, because I was reading Game of Thrones and I was reading some other like more modern fantasy novels. So I was like, let me watch Lord of the Rings, and I remembered like I really liked the second and third one, but I could not get through the first one to get to the second and third, because I was just like, man, this is fucking long, dude. Like, can you? It doesn't kick off till like an hour and a half, and then it slows down again at points. It's like, I don't know, man.
Okay, well, do you like Attack of the Clones?
No.
Okay, thank
God. Wait, Attack of the Clones. Which one's that?
The second
of the prequel.
I don't think the second or the third movies are very good. I think the first one was one of the better Star Wars movies I watched.
Really?
Wait, you think The Phantom Menace is better than Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
My opinion's changed on it over time now that I've noticed more of the issues and stuff, and I've grown up a bit. But I didn't think the Phantom Menace was terrible. To give you credit, like I do think there were redeeming aspects about it, and even if some of it is nostalgia, but better than Revenge of the Sith. I mean,
yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, no. Here's the thing. I know after the sequel trilogy came out, everybody started kissing everybody started loving the prequels out of nowhere because they said that they were so much better, and they are. They're better than the prequels are better.
They are technically better.
But I'm sorry, I don't care. Like even The Last Jedi could not make The Phantom Menace a better movie. It just doesn't. In my opinion, my honest opinion, The Phantom Menace. Even when I was like 11 years old watching the movie the first time, I almost fell asleep. It's just not. I don't know.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad, dude.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not that bad. And honestly, I'll tell you what, the sequel trilogy, the first movie is the worst one.
What?
It's the sequel trilogy.
Wait, The Force Awakens?
The Force Awakens is the worst one. That one was trash.
Wait, you think it's worse than the other two?
Yeah. At least that one had took some kind of chances or something. The first one was pure nostalgia bait.
Well, the first one was just a ripoff of A New Hope, which you also hated. So
yeah. I mean,
but it was still a better film than the other two.
It was complete nostalgia bait, dude. I think it was. And the second one actually took a few risks. And it was actually like
the Ryan Johnson one. That's the worst.
Ryan Johnson. Well, the Ryan Johnson one is the worst Star Wars. That was
the one
film.
that started it. Yeah.
No, it's the worst Star Wars film and the most hated one for good reason. But it isn't the worst made film. The Rise of Skywalker somehow beats that. But although it is because they had to
fix what he did.
And so it ended up being a worse made film. But
yeah, I agree.
Well, and then like one of the biggest offenses in the Rise of Skywalker is the fucking horses and like it's just like, I'm sorry.
Horses in space.
Dude.
Oh my god,
they come out riding horses.
So
like,
dumb.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. I didn't know why was that bad.
Of course,
it had a force field over it, dude. There was a force field on the ship, so they could breathe.
I don't know.
They were fucking riding horses on spaceships.
We're
talking about Star Wars.
The worst offense that people talk about is like that the Superman bit with that chick, Layla or whatever. The Superman stuff that Layla did.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Leia,
Princess Leia.
Yeah, that was fucking.
I watched that and I was expecting to see one of the most awful things I'll ever see in film, and I watched it.
Dude, she was Mary Poppins.
I was like, it was alright. It wasn't dark, dude.
Someone needs to edit that scene and put an umbrella in her hand.
That you're hating on, I guarantee you put that film on in front of somebody who's never watched Star Wars before, and I reckon 70% of people would like it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I wonder why. I wonder why if they never watch. No, that's exactly the people who like The Last Jedi. Every person I see praising The Last Jedi, saying it's an amazing film and the best Star Wars film, are old people who are like Zoomers, like 21-year-old film students who never watched the original trilogy and
and they're the best people to tell you if
or boomers who never cared about them in the first place.
I am done with fan bases, even myself. I'm done with
it proves they know nothing about Star Wars.
And I'm gonna put my camera on all our supposed knowledge on these fucking franchises. I'm done with it, bro, because it's ridiculous. It's like there's nothing these people can do to make these fan bases happy. If you're a passionate fan of something,
that's true.
the 90% of what these people can come up with, there's nothing. You can do.
Okay, well, I will say
they do it the same, and people complain, and then they try something different, and people complain. They complain all the time. Danny says
I
it all the time.
will agree with that. With some people, there are a lot of people in fan bases who are like that. No matter what they now
Including us.
those films were still failures, but I agree. There's really was little that they could have done. But I mean, the only way to like please certain people, like enough, in my opinion, with something like that, is you just have to play incredibly boring safe, like Top Gun Maverick did, where it's just completely safe. Not to discredit Top Gun Maverick, great film, but it played it super safe. So obviously it paid off because it pissed off nobody. That's what you would have to do. Although with the new trilogy, they really just shouldn't have. They should never have done it. Like they should never have just continued with the same old characters. Like I was fine with the new characters. That was a good start, but they literally just used the old characters in the old trilogy, like a backdrop in a
were there
like
any
a
main
backdrop
stars?
or bad
Were there any
or like
main
dead
stars that
bodies.
were black
In
what
what?
do you mean?
in the new
Star
Top
Wars?
Gun? No, in
There
the
was
new
like
Top Gun.
one side
Yeah.
character who was black.
There's one side character who was black.
No,
okay.
there was two. No, two. There was
He's more like Puerto Rican or something, isn't he?
there was the guy that was in the plane. I can't remember his name.
Yeah. Well, there was the guy who like passed out and stuff. But I thought he's more like Cuban, and then there's the
Was
one
he
black guy.
was he a badass? Was he like super badass in it?
No.
Not really, no.
Yeah, and he wasn't a name actor like that you'd really notice, right?
Yeah, and
But
then there was one female.
You could kind of like put him in the background, kind of thing, where Miles Teller and and Tom Cruise and like the big names were all white. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
They did the same thing with the female to an extent, but pushed it a bit more forward. Like, so of course it didn't piss off any of those groups, but
right, that's what it is. It was.
It is.
They played it safe, like kept it, And I'm not saying the movie is bad because of that. Don't get me wrong, because I haven't seen it, but and I'm not saying it's bad because of that.
No, it's fucking
I
fire.
like
no, it's
Tom
great,
Cruise.
but you have to play that basic with certain fan bases, or else they're bound to get angry otherwise.
Yeah, but I'm just
No,
saying
it's really good.
those are things that if that was there, like if say for instance Iceman, had a mixed race son,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right?
Oh, you mean Ghost?
Yeah, for instance, I think it's a miracle that those Rocky movies are so popular. Those new Rocky movies with Michael B. Johnson.
it is kind of that people didn't get angry yet.
Mm-hmm.
That shows that boy is a good-looking boy he's good-looking in a way that like men like him, women like him. That shows Michael B. Jordan's star power. Because if that was anyone else and they tried that shit, where Rocky now comes to train a black dude, that would have been it for them. That shows that guy's a huge star. That's what I'll say about Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't that connection, from the older films, and they brought him in them for the newer ones, trained under Rocky, then they definitely would have, done that. But
I mean, he's the new Denzel Washington without being as good as Denzel Washington, is what I'm trying to say. Because Denzel Washington,
kind of true to an extent, but there are others I can think of, like.
Because Denzel Washington, for some reason, I don't know why, but like white people, he can get away with anything with him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it.
And you know what Denzel Washington gets away with that nobody says? He actually on record saying he will never kiss or make out with a white woman in a movie.
Right, all of that stuff, and
he gets away with it.
Yeah, but
Jordan,
you know why?
Jordan Peele comes out.
They don't want to see him kissing a white woman.
That's true.
Like that.
Yeah, but Jordan Peele comes out and says, "Oh, well, he's gonna do a movie where all his stars are black and people lose their mind."
Yeah, I do not get that fucking back. Like first off, he didn't say he wouldn't ever cast a white
person
in the lead role. He just said that all of his films have personal stories attached, with like the black experience. So he doesn't see himself ever doing it. That's all.
Right.
Exactly.
By the
Who's
way,
the
on
man?
the topic of Denzel, did you guys hear that he's rumored to play Magneto for the MCU?
Yeah, that won't be good.
That'll be
And
fun.
I don't even mind the Black Magneto, but I don't think that's a great idea.
Why?
He's a little bit too street, man. Like, I don't see Magneto like that. I know he can be street and smart. Denzel Washington, he's certainly an intellectual person, and he can play that kind of intellectual like thing. But unless he does it something like he did Stephen Biko. I don't know if you guys ever watched
Absolutely. Cry Freedom?
Cry Freedom. If he does it like that, he might be onto something. But outside of that, I don't. He's a little bit too street, a little bit too, whereas I expect Magneto to be like this very well spoken, kind of dude. Like I just don't see that like quite working. But
The only
I'd
issue
give it a chance. I'd give it a chance.
The only reason why I wouldn't have an issue with that because I know Denzel Washington's like a thespian, right? This is the same guy that played Macbeth.
True.
Yeah, it was.
True, and he did, apparently he did it well. So
exactly. So yeah,
I've tried to watch that movie, but like I keep like falling asleep in the first.
Yeah, I can't watch it either, bro. I tried.
I'm gonna try it. You just reminded me. Actually, I want to watch it now. I like Shakespeare, but I just never vibed with that specific play.
Story.
Like, I like Romeo and Juliet and like Hamlet. Hamlet's cool because he's like all nihilistic. He's like, should I commit suicide or not? I'm like, oh, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's an immediate kind of in. Whereas Macbeth, I don't even know what he's about. Like he's like.
I'm just gonna say I ain't fucking smart enough to understand the shit they talk about in half of those fucking plays and shit.
No, but I think there's certain ones. There's certain ones that are like for us simple-minded folk.
Probably because
like,
the ones that
Romeo and Juliet is like two teens trying to fuck, and it's like I can get that. I can get on board with that.
I feel you. But the ones that aren't, like I said, the Macbeth one, I was watching it and I was like, okay, no, I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this dialogue shit. No, I can't do it.
Who plays Lady Macbeth?
Huh?
Who plays Lady?
I don't know who.
Is it what's her name? Viola Davis?
No, it's a white lady.
Yeah, it's a white lady.
Oh, okay. Because if it was Viola Davis, I'd give it a shot again. Because like I like that.
Yeah, she's fire. I can't wait to see that movie she has coming out.
Well, you know how many times people have like confused that with Black Panther 2? Like, you know how many people like fucking like because that movie, what's it called? The King?
The Warrior King, yeah.
The Warrior King,
the Woman King or something.
Yeah, the Woman King.
Yeah,
the Woman King.
I know so many people who like, oh, that it looks exactly just like Black Panther 2, and they're coming out pretty much at the same fucking time. I want to see it. Like, it looks really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think really it looks wild, but dude, I'm telling you, she ain't Michael B. Jordan. Panthers. She ain't Michael B. Jordan. She ain't gonna get away with it. I'm telling you.
I'm surprised it hasn't got any like backlash from those group yet. From what I saw.
Trust me, when it comes to the time it's coming out, watch the backlash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can already picture those like racist thumbnails they're gonna use.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's gonna bomb just because they're gonna say it bombed because it's on a
female black led movie.
Well, no, it's because it isn't like
accurate.
It isn't like history. A Top Gun. No, because it isn't like a Top Gun Maverick giant blockbuster film. It's more something like The Northman, so it's not going to gain that much money at the box office just because of that. But then they're going to claim because because Get Woke, Go Broke, and then they're going to make another video saying Top Gun Maverick owns the Woman.
Yeah.
No, like
I can't wait to see what they say owns. They always have to say something owns something. They try and co-opt things like afterwards. Like it's maddening. Like they were all hating on Wonder Woman when it came out. All of those guys are hating on Wonder Woman. As soon as Captain Marvel came out, it suddenly became their favorite movie.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman owns Captain Marvel, and they tried to. And this is funny, and this is the only reason I find Captain Marvel beating Wonder Woman funny, because in the box office, because they were trying to go like, oh, nobody's going to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Like the cinemas are empty. I don't know what and they were going with this whole thing, and then it beat Wonder Woman. In the end, like, even though they were going, see, like when you don't attack men or whatever, like
they do that with all the movies there, man. Even fucking She-Hulk. Nobody's gonna watch She-Hulk. I mean, people are watching it still. I don't like it, but people are watching it. People are gonna watch these things regardless. But they like to make it seem like nobody wants to see this shit. And I say it all the time. Like, all these people that are yelling this woke and minority and race bending, it's a small minority. It's just like cancel culture. They're small, but they have the loudest voice, and that's the problem.
It's the worst thing about the internet, bro. That it got, because these people don't have friends. You know they don't have friends, and like, if it wasn't for the internet, they could not find each other.
Facts.
That's why you never heard about this shit. In the 90s, it was all peaceful. You didn't like a movie, you just don't like a movie.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like there was no agendas, or we don't like the politics of this or that. It's just, I'm not feeling that movie. Period. And that's it. Or I like the movie. Done. You know what I'm saying? And then they got the internet, and it got all these people to be able to find each other, and it's fucking terrible, man. It's terrible.
Oh yeah, I'm just thinking about like all the films that were, similar to like Black Panther in the past that got trashed on because they just weren't good films. Like I'm just thinking of if they were released today, instead of everybody just moving on saying it's a bad film. Oh,
look, no
Alien.
one.
Oh my god,
no one complained with Michael Clark Duncan being Kingpin, but if they had done that today. Oh no, they race bending their agenda, blah 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 blah. And Michael Clark
it was just a shit movie. That was it.
Right, exactly. But he was good as Kingpin, though.
He was good.
Yeah, and also
you think about
was garbage.
Yeah, and also think about like what other actor at that time, or even now today, could like has that kind of Kingpin physique. Like,
exactly.
Even Vincent D'Onofrio, they pad that up like crazy. He's not that big.
He's the Kingpin from the other movie would have fucked up Vincent D'Onofrio too. Let's be honest. But
Michael Clark Duncan, absolutely,
he would have wrecked his ship. But the Vincent D'Onofrio was better. But they were both good. But like, in any case, like, that's just a perfect example. People could just be like, I don't like a movie, I ain't gonna watch it. Back in the day, you didn't have to make it about some fucking agenda like the person had for making like Kingpin black. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened to that world where you can't just say, I don't like a movie, I don't like a franchise, but enjoy if you do like it. What's happened to that world?
It's because of movies like The Last Jedi and everything like that everyone uses. They're using that word woke in order to get clicks and stuff like that. Like, that's it. That's it. And yeah, I know I've ragged on The Last Jedi. I'm sorry, I don't like that movie. I've always fucking hate that movie. But like, it is true. Like, they use movies like that to further their own agenda to get clicks and stuff. And it's, like you're saying, in the early 2000s, like when movies like Daredevil came out, yeah, you're right. Nobody gave a shit. Maybe a few people did, but it wasn't like outspoken,
And you can tell by the disparity, because say Lord of the Rings, I'm using this as an example, not even a show I'm a big fan of. I just like it. I'm like, it's all right. It's quite good. I'll see where it goes. That show, before the critics loved it, first of all. So it got like 80-something% by the critics. But people, what's more important is that they showed it to, what do you call it, test audiences, test screenings, and the fucking test scorings were through the roof. So you can tell that there's got to be something else going on when you have, a 34% audience rating and an 84% you know, and like even on IMDb, it's like 6.8 or something like that. There's something going on. There's a group of people who are purposely making their score lower than they know that the show deserves.
Mm-hmm. Well, from what I heard, a lot of the people that were doing that haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how can you review bomb something and you haven't even seen the damn thing yet? It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And they were all hating on. This is another example. They were all hating on House of the Dragon or whatever. They were all hating on it before it came out.
Because of the black guy. I remember
Because of the black guy, and then
Yeah.
they tried to use Game of Thrones season 8 as an excuse, something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as the Lord of the Rings dropped, House of the Dragon destroys Lord of the Rings, and it's so easy to see why. It's because the main badass in House of the Dragon is a white dude. The main badass is a white dude. It's a good show as well, don't get me wrong, but the main guy who's doing all the badass shit is the white dude, right? And so that now they can kind of, I'd respect them more if they just admitted it, but I know that's what's behind it. Mm-hmm. Because, again, Sean, did you watch House of the Dragon?
Not yet, but
you haven't seen it. It is actually very good. It's very, very good, but you won't like it. So just don't
You're probably right, because I tried to put it on and I got like the first 10 minutes and I was like, okay, I got a better thing.
I'm sure he'll like some scenes, certain scenes.
If it's anything like Game of Thrones, then no, I won't like it.
He isn't gonna like it. I can tell. Like, I don't think Game of Thrones is like the first 5 seasons is brilliant, and if I genuinely don't think you'd like it, even if you tried to get into it for more episodes. It's just something that it doesn't jive with you. And as I said, I can't put a specific thing of what it is, but there's just certain types of things they just don't jive with you, and it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Ring of Power either, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode and fell asleep on it. When I woke up, it was in the middle of the second episode. And I was like, "Oh shit, okay."
But
I got right up until where she fights Galadriel fights that big troll there, and I just couldn't take the elves. Oh, we gotta go and this and that, and I'm like, that's not how the elves act in Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Like, they don't question their leader, so I didn't like that.
What happened? What'd you say happened? The elves questioned their leader.
Yeah, when Galadriel was going to fight the troll and they were looking for Sauron's palace, and they were like, "Oh, it's cold. We gotta go. We gotta leave, and we're leaving." I'm like, "No, go watch Lord of the Rings. There's one person."
But the king told them to come back.
Did he?
Yeah,
I must have missed that part. I don't know.
The king was like, the war's over. That's why our people were against her.
I gotta go back, and I said I was gonna go back.
And remember, it's a prequel, so maybe the reason that they're so following their leaders because they realize that Galadriel was right.
Well, no, I know, but Galadriel was they were telling Galadriel that they had to leave. Like, it's over, we gotta go, and she's like, "No, it's not over. We gotta find him, and he's coming back." I was like, I don't know. It just didn't catch me right away. So we'll see when I watch it again. Because I plan to watch that, and I plan to give House of Dragons a try because Danny loves it. I'm like, Danny likes it, really? But again, Danny also liked Boba Fett, so you know what I'm saying? He liked Book of Boba, so I don't know.
Like Book of Boba Fett, man, I'm sorry. I really tried with that show. Like, I really did, and it just kept every episode. The only part of it that I liked was in what's that bounty hunter, that blue bounty hunter's name?
Oh, Cad Bane.
Yeah, when he showed up for the first time, that was like, I was genuinely excited because I didn't know it was him. I had a feeling it would be him, and then when he came closer, I was like, yeah, it's Cad Bane. But But even how he went out, like, you know, it was just lame as fuck. Like, that show, like, pissed me off in so many ways. It was so disappointing.
Yep.
And really, the only, like, the best episode isn't even really a Boba Fett episode. It's
It was
with
the Mandalorian one.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fucking sad. It's just like, what's the point of that show even? What is it, just to tease Mandalorian season 3?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that the only reason? Because if that's the case, don't even bother making that fucking show then.
Yep.
You know, it's just, I don't know.
There are several mysteries in my life that I don't like quite understand, and one of them is the love for Star Wars.
Stop it.
I genuinely don't know what you see in this fucking. It's boring.
That's what I feel about Star Trek fans.
No, but it's not meaningless.
Star Trek is meaningless. Boring, meaningless. Yeah.
It's not meaningless.
J.J. Abrams had to come and make Star Trek better.
I agree with you on that. So don't get it twisted. I agree with you on that. I think actually he did a pretty fucking good job with that first Star Trek movie, and even like the other two were all right.
What are you fucking people talking about?
Dude, the Wrath of Khan ain't that good. I'm sorry, the Wrath of Khan is not that fucking good.
No. The Wrath of Khan is the best one.
Yeah, that's wrong, but it ain't as good. It ain't as good as the J.J. Abrams one. I'll watch that.
Okay, I will say I at first when I was younger I was in your boat, nerd man. I didn't really get it. Just felt like a surface level sci-fi film. But now that I've grown up more, and you know, and for its time, looking at it, like I get it, and I think you're like undervaluing the special aspects of it.
There was a good performance by the villain. I love the over the top acting of Kirk. I always loved the over the top acting of Kirk, but it's ironically liking it. I'm just saying, like, it's just a standardly better put together film. It doesn't try and go crazy and do anything too deep or anything like that. But those new Star Trek films are well casted, well acted, good action. The works with it, especially the first one. I think the first one was pretty fucking good. Are you just talking
about the films or the show as well?
No, the films. Those three films, and then the new Star Trek, the new one, like in Strange New Worlds. Some of the best Star Trek ever.
So good. It's so good.
Okay, well, you see, that's the thing. When it comes to the films of Star Trek, the Wrath of Khan is great, but outside of that, there's really all of them are kind of bad after that.
Look, I'll tell you this: Star Trek Next Generation is the most overrated Star Trek of all time. Everything to do with it is boring as shit. The sci-fi isn't as clever as they try and make out. Everything's boring. The first Star Trek is good for its time. It's outdated as a motherfucker, like the original series. Outdated as a motherfucker. Has some good ideas. Had some great ideas. That episode where the people were racist against each other because one side of their face is black, the other white, and then the other one's the opposite way around. That was a tight fucking concept. But watch the episode, and it's kind of still silly. Even though it's a tight episode and a tight message, it's still kind of silly-ish. Do you get what I mean? The best parts of it are fantastic. But like the whole kind of makeup, like the way the ship, everything about it is just like, it's of its time. And I love it for it. And I love fucking the Kirk guy. I think he's amazing. I thought he's one of my heroes in terms of like characters. Just like his over-the-top characterizations are iconic. But they're not as good as or as polished as the new Star Trek, or Star Trek Voyager, or Star Trek Deep Space Nine, or the Orville. This Orville show is the best Star Trek I've ever seen.
First Contact is pretty good though. The one with the Borg. Did you not see the Star Trek First Contact?
It's alright.
I hated that.
You didn't like it?
Nah.
It's all right. It's all right. It's not that good.
Mm-mm.
It's
But,
too bad because I think you actually might dig a little bit Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, and so, but the
I
next
watched some of it. Wasn't
generation.
a fan.
Oh, you weren't a fan. Okay, well, I
Yeah.
thought if there's one of them of the old series that you would have liked, that's the more kind of intellectual Star Trek, that it's that one. But like, honestly, like, yeah, I think that if you're talking about a perfect balance between the intellectual stuff of Star Trek and having good action, good visuals, good everything, it's got to be the Orville, man. You guys have got to watch that show.
Donnie loves it. Not a fan.
You haven't? Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch it from the first episode?
I didn't watch the whole series. No, I watched the first 3 episodes of season 1. I couldn't take it.
They're the worst episodes in the whole show.
And then I watched
Did you watch
episode
the
1 of
second
season
season?
3. No, I watched episode 1 of season 3.
Let me think of episode 1 of season 3 is
Yeah,
is the
which
worst
wasn't bad.
episode. It wasn't bad, but it's the worst episode in season 3. But that's unfortunate, man, because like there's a lot of episodes. I don't know, Sean, definitely you would like it.
But I like Strange New Worlds. I think Strange New Worlds is fire.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's fantastic. Sean, are you not? You're not going to give Orville a chance because of the writer or whatever?
Wait, what? What a chance? Sorry.
Orville.
Okay. Like, who's the writer of it even?
Seth Rollins.
Seth MacFarlane.
MacFarlane.
Well, it's. I mean, I'll give it a chance. It's just okay. I've not seen this yet. Okay, so what is this show about?
It's like a cheap version of Star Trek.
It's not a cheap. It's a very expensive version of Star Trek.
Okay,
Just
I don't mean cheap that way. I just mean cheap.
Watch it from season 2.
Knockoff.
Watch it from season 2 and then go back if you like it. Because I guarantee you, if you just watch it from season 2, it's so much better than watching it from season 1. Because I think they were trying to get their footing. I think Seth MacFarlane was trying to
put
be
that
more
comedy,
of the comedy
in it. Yeah,
in the first season, and then he realized, no, I'm onto something better than that. You know, and people were responding more to the sci-fi element than to the comedy element, so he took some of the comedy out of it.
Oh fuck!
He's the worst thing about the show in terms of
Yeah, I
that.
do not. I hate him as an actor,
but outside of that, he does a reasonable job, and the rest of it is just the ideas in the show are really good.
okay, well, I'll watch it when I have the time, but
Which means never, basically.
Well, no, it's just there are so many shows I'm behind on, but I'll watch it eventually.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, that's me, man. That's my thoughts on everything.
Cool.
Recently.
Well, I'm gonna end this stream right now. It's kind of getting tired as fuck, but it's a good chat. It's just a chill session, just chatting about whatever. But everybody watching on the replay, on the replay, subscribe to everyone's channels here, all that stuff, and thank you to everybody for showing up. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Peace.
Cool.